Real challenge for Florida State, but the 30 days will help the Noles to get them ready.
There's Bobby Bowden. He's the honorary captain of the Florida State Seminoles tonight. On the other side, the great Bo Jackson, honorary captain of Auburn. John O'Neill of the Big Ten is our referee. And let's go down now for the coin toss.
Okay, guys, introduce yourselves. Guys, congratulations on making it to the BCS championship game. Good luck tonight, okay? Guys, I'm flipping a unique coin. This coin has Auburn University logo on one side, Florida State University logo on the other side. When this coin comes to rest on the ground, whichever school's logo is face up, you've won the toss, okay? Here we go. Florida State, you've won the toss. Florida State has won the toss. Defer their choice to the second half. Auburn, you'll take the ball. Which way do you want to kick? That way. Turn your back that way.
And let's go to Heather Cox with Jimbo Fisher.
Brent, thanks so much, Jimbo. Your quarterback, Jameis Winston, has showed poise beyond his years. He is a redshirt freshman playing on the biggest stage. What was your advice to him tonight?
Just manage the game. Take the little crumbs that are there and make good decisions with the ball. You got playmakers around. The big things will open up. Just trust your eyes and react and take the open things that are there and don't try to force anything.
Jimbo, enjoy every minute of it. Let's go across the field to Tom Rinaldi.
Heather, thanks very much. Your first meeting with this team, Gus, you told them they'd have the greatest turnaround in college football. What did you see then that made this night possible?
Well, they believed. They worked hard. They got us here, and now we need to play our best game.
Good luck to you, Gus.
Thank you.
Brent?
Thank you, Tom. Florida State deferring, so they'll have the first possession of our second half, and we will get to take a look here early at Nick Marshall and the Auburn attack. So Trey Mason will go back deep as one of the return men. Quan Bray, one of the wide receivers, is also back there with him. And the Lou Groza Award winner, Roberto Aguayo of Florida State, puts the ball on the tee as the smoke clears. And we get ready. Bray is told to stay right there. And here to help us introduce Auburn's starting quarterback is 2010 Heisman Trophy winner Cam Newton.
Today I'm introducing a fellow Georgia boy and a bona fide playmaker, Auburn's quarterback, Nick Marshall, who's accounted for 23 touchdowns and also is 5-1 versus ranked team and will have a big impact in today's game. War Eagle!
And of course, Cam and the Tigers won the 2011 BCS National Championship, and Cam getting ready right now for the San Francisco 49ers in the NFL playoffs. Carolina will be at home, and here we go in the BCS Championship. Marshall with the read option, hands it to Mason on the first down, and they gash a big hole against the Noles. So on the first play of this game, Auburn does answer the question, Herbie, are they going to be able to move it? And here comes that no huddle, hurry up look. Lewis in motion, and again, it is Mason, and this time he's stopped by Telvin Smith.
Big part of what Auburn wants to do is stretch this Florida State defense sideline to sideline and try to make them identify this jet sweep motion that they'll see so much. It's assignment football defending Auburn, and the trigger man, Nick Marshall, holds the key tonight to having Auburn having a big night offensively, not just running, but decision-making on those reads.
Mason in the backfield gets it again. 3 consecutive carries, and this is going to bring up a 3rd and long. And now we will answer our first question as to whether or not Malzahn in this situation is going to put it up or is going to stick with this relentless ground game.
3rd down, a big part of tonight's game. Gus Malzahn and Auburn want to stay in that 3rd to 3, 3rd and 4 range. In fact, they're one of the best teams in the country at 3rd and 3 or less. You get to 3rd and 4 and higher, it's a much different story.
So we have our initial timeout of the game. And facing a 3rd and 7, it is Auburn showing some early jitters here on the first series.
And a good call here by Gus Malzahn with all the jitters and all the buildup and hype of this game. You get to your first 3rd down. You don't want to make a crucial mistake that could cost you here. It's imperative that Auburn needs to get off to a great start. Florida State has dominated most of their opponents in the first quarter. And this is a big, even though it's early in this game, I think Gus Malzahn recognizing, it's one thing to try to convert. It's another thing to avoid a disastrous play.
Leading receiver is number 18, Sammy Coates from Leroy, Alabama, number 18. He has been the preferred target of Nick Marshall. Averaging better than 20 yards a catch when they get it to him. And tonight he's operating against perhaps the best secondary in the country, a secondary that has intercepted 25 passes. Also in that backfield now is Corey Grant has checked in. Play action. Deep, wide open, and dropped at the 30-yard line by Ricardo Lewis. He was wide open on the secondary bust by the nose.
And you can see miscommunication right here with Terrence Brooks. He and Telvin Smith are covering the same man, and prior to the snap, Telvin Smith is turning to Terrence Brooks and trying to get him out on the outside over the slot receiver. Nobody recovers Lewis, and I don't know if he just short on the ball or what, but he misses a wide open receiver and a touchdown. He did the same thing in the Iron Bowl against Alabama on the first series with an open receiver.
Kenny Shaw awaits Stephen Clark's punt. Fair catch. At about the 23-yard line. Well, here to help us introduce Florida State starting quarterback is 2000 Heisman Trophy winner Chris Winkie.
The starting quarterback for the Seminoles tonight is Jameis Winston from Bessemer, Alabama. He's the 2013 Heisman Trophy winner and looking to become the first freshman starting quarterback to lead his team to a national championship in the BCS era. Happy birthday, Jameis, and go Noles.
Jameis turns 20 years old today. Winkie led the Noles to a national championship at the end of the '99 season. He beat Michael Vick and Virginia Tech in New Orleans. Bobby Bowden's second national championship, and it was something that night. Dante Freeman busts to daylight to the 45-yard line on their first possession. 22 yards for Devontae.
Watch Trey Jackson, 54, climb up to the linebacker on McKenzie. Does a great job there as far as climbing up to that second level. Florida State's confident in their offensive line and what they can do running the football against an undersized front seven from Auburn.
Jameis snaps off his first pass to Green for still another first down, and they barge into Auburn territory. Chris Davis making the stop.
Chris Davis going soft in coverage, and Jameis Winston recognizing that. In fact, Davis in his back pedal loses his footing. This is something they've got to be able to defend underneath with Kenny Shaw and also Rashad Green. In space, they're very, very dangerous.
The Noles empty the backfield. Jimbo Fisher calling the plays. Jonathan Mincy with a fine play defensively for Auburn on that first down.
And I think Jameis Winston very fortunate. He threw this football behind his intended receiver. And Mincy does a good job of jumping it. In fact, could have come up with an interception. It should have come up with an interception. That ball did not touch the hands there of Green at all. And they may have surprised him. Ellis Johnson is going to mix up coverages as much as he can to try to confuse the young quarterback. Now they're playing a little bit more press here on this play.
Shaw, and Shaw is short of the 40. That's a loss, and Jermaine Whitehead with a fine stop for Auburn.
Very clear that Ellis Johnson and Auburn, they want to try to mix things up, and you have to do anything you can to disrupt the timing of Winston and this talented group of wide receivers. When you pressure him and blitz him, he's been effective this year, so you cannot show what you're going to do and tip your hand. You've got to show one thing, disguise, and get into another. They've got to do a good job of trying to confuse him, see if he can put the ball into coverage.
Wilder is the running back right to Winston's left. They show blitz, and there's a penalty flag on it.
I think the right guard may have moved there, Brent.
Full start. Offense number 54. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
That's who it was, Herbie. Trey Jackson.
Yeah, I think he was affected by Auburn showing some pressure here, right there. I think he starts to get a little bit nervous because he knows what's coming there. And again, going back to what Ellis Johnson wants to do, disguise things, show press, try to get not only Jameis Winston off balance, but also that offensive line.
3rd and 16 with O'Leary on the field, a dangerous receiver. He stays into block, however, and Winston throws downfield wide open. Is green and out of bounds. First down as the defensive back appeared to go down on the play.
Yeah, not the same defensive back dropped, and it was Chris Davis. Good job by Florida State here on 3rd down. This is a big question. Could they protect Winston? You can see a wide open Rashad Green, but watch Davis here. He's dropping back, changes direction, goes down again. The second time on this series alone that Chris Davis has lost his footing, and he may want to change his cleats.
Carlos Williams checks in as the tailback, and he'll get the carry here. Breaks that first tackle, and he is down at about the 16-yard line, so this will be 2nd down.
This is where you get into the red zone. Florida State #1 in the country. They're 97% effective in the red zone and 3rd in the nation, converting 79% getting touchdowns. The reason they're so good is the decision-making from Winston, but he's got some great targets. #1, he'll be up at the top of your screen, Kelvin Benjamin. If they leave him one-on-one, he's actually going to be at the slot up at the top. They leave him one-on-one, they'll try to get him the ball. Also, Nick O'Leary is very dangerous in this area as well.
Winston, end zone, a little too high that time. And it will be 3rd down. Chris Davis with coverage in the end zone that time. But Winston threw it high, and he tends to throw it high. Remember what we told you about Benjamin, folks. He is 6'6". That is the target. And sometimes you think in watching Winston that he thinks Benjamin is always the receiver.
And when you double, if this see on this 3rd down, if they have a corner and a safety over the top to take away Benjamin as a threat, if they do that, obviously the receivers on the other side have got to make a play, or it can open things up into the interior of that defense.
Freeman is in as the running back. He slips out as a safety valve. Winston keeps it, nowhere to go. 4th down. And Auburn forces Florida State to settle for a field goal attempt. And that was a heck of a play by Nosa Igwe.
And Dee Ford and Carl Lawson, these guys on the outside have got to be factors tonight in making Winston step up. I think he was confused here because they showed pressure again, going back to mixing it up. They showed pressure, and then the linebacker, Chris Frost, dropped right at the snap, took away one of his underneath routes. He had no one to throw the ball to.
Aguayo, 19 of 20, make it 20 of 21 on the year. The Lou Groza Award winner puts the Noles up 3-0. But Florida State was stopped from scoring a touchdown in the red zone, and that's a story. Watch this sack down.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
Welcome back to the Rose Bowl and the Vizio BCS National Championship. Florida State settles for a field goal. And Trey Mason goes back deep again with Bray. Let's check that now. Chris Davis has come in as a return man. So Chris Davis is a hero that everyone in Auburn certainly remembers. The young man who ran 109 yards with a missed field goal against Alabama. This is Bray. Bray will come out. 10 and stumbles down at the 21.
You go back to that last play that they missed on the home run. It was out of a timeout, a quick huddle. Florida State, look at Florida State's defense. This is part of defending Auburn, is getting on the same page. They were confused not just by the play action, but really by the alignment and the quick huddle by Gus Malzahn. He disguised it and hit it from the sideline. They came onto the field late. They huddled quickly. Florida State was trying to communicate. That is the game within the game tonight between Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator from Florida State, and Gus Malzahn and Nick Marshall in this Auburn offense.
So from the 22-yard line, the toss play to Mason, trying to get the edge. And Mason out to the 30-yard line. Brooks with the stop. One thing is sure, Herbie, I think you agree with this. Auburn is the best team Florida State has played this year.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about Clemson on the road in Death Valley, but they dismantled them that night. And I think this game now, because of what Auburn can do on offense and how they can attack you in so many different ways, I would agree with that.
Not much doing there on that second down. This will be 3rd and short.
I think one of the things when you face tempo and you face this attack, when they do so many different things, is maintaining your edge. The personality of Florida State is being aggressive, blitzing. You can't get on your heels because of the tempo. You've got to take the fight to them and not let them dictate things to you. So many of their opponents in the SEC this year got on their heels. That's what Florida State's trying to avoid tonight, maintaining that aggressiveness.
Again, Mason battling for the first down. The offensive line for Auburn, very physical. Robinson is the left tackle. He'll play Sunday football.
Watch that line. Telvin Smith actually slips through, but that defensive line led by Goldman that time came up with a play, but give Auburn credit, just enough there to pick up the first down, and here comes the tempo.
Marshall checking the sideline with the coaches. Has the change delivered to the offensive line. Deflected quick throw to the outside, and it is complete at the 39-yard line to Coates.
And Nick Marshall looking over to get confirmation. This is one of those offenses we have a lot of moving parts. At the end of the day, the guy in the visor is making the call. He's getting his formations in. This time it's a quick huddle. They call these the fire alarms. See how close they are to the football? Watch how quick the offensive line will break out of that huddle and how quickly they're going to try to get this ball snapped before Florida State can adjust.
Marshall steps away from Edwards, but not the second time. And the team has a penalty flag thrown on top of it. This could be intentional grounding. I don't think he got it back to the line of scrimmage.
Offense number 14. Lost it down at the start of the foul. Third down.
It was a relentless pursuit of Edwards.
Yeah, they are getting in there quickly. Boy, Mario Edwards has had a great year. He's relentless in his pass rush, and clearly this was a intentional grounding. Nobody picked up Mario Edwards. I thought he might recognize Corey Grant in the left flat. He was wide open, would have picked up easily a first down. He didn't pull the trigger. He kept the play alive, and eventually Edwards got home.
Third and 14 as a result of that penalty. Straight down the middle, grab for a first down at the 45 of Florida State by freshman Marcus Davis from Delray Beach, Florida.
Wow, he does an excellent job here of getting separation from Nate Andrews, who is playing middle linebacker. He throws that football with such a nice touch, but at the same time with enough velocity to squeeze it in there. What a throw.
Big conversion. Mason. And he is swallowed by the right side of the Noles defense, but not before he picks up 4 yards. So that makes it 2nd and 6 And Auburn in this up-tempo offense, ready to go again. Prosh is the fullback, and he's a good one. Here comes Mason, and I checked that. That was Marshall keeping the ball, and so Marshall did not hand it off, and he crosses the 40-yard line. Andrews stops it.
You and I have to stay on our toes too tonight, not just Florida State's defense.
You know what I'm happy of, Herbie, is that Auburn's wearing the white because it contrasts with that football a little bit more. and I think the linebackers at Florida State are pretty happy about that also.
Up here, nobody covering the slot receiver at the top.
Mason goes incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. There was pressure by P.J. Williams off the corner that time.
They are bringing the heat on Nick Marshall. They're bringing a lot of pressure, and especially when they get you to 3rd down. That's been the way Florida State has played defense all year. See the pressure coming from the left. They disguised it well. The offensive line slid to the right. It left Trey Mason back there to pick up 2 men. Can't pick up 2 men, and they had nothing to do there but to throw it away. If Auburn continues to be in 3rd and medium to 3rd and long, they will struggle tonight against this Noles defense.
Always stay alert against Auburn. They're into Florida State territory with the 4th down, and they're going to go ahead and boom it. And this ball backs up on the 1-yard line. What a punt by Stephen Clark from Kansas City. He backed it up. Now watch this, the reverse spin, and the young man did his job.
The 2014 Vizio BCS National Championship is brought to you by Vizio Fandemonium. Go to VizioFanZone.com and outshout your rival to push your team to victory. Cadillac, Allstate. Are you in good hands? Great Clips. It's gonna be great. And Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Mott's.
BCS photos for the first 4 championships. Peter Warwick, star for the Noles, and Bobby Bowden down in New Orleans. Wilder now the running back. Coming out from their own 2-yard line. Winston's going to fire it incomplete. And it is 2nd down and 10. And if Davis changed his shoes, he was all over the receiver.
At that time, Chris Davis with better footing. Much better job there that time of getting after the underneath routes. Again, Auburn doing a good job. They got to consider that last possession a win, holding Winston and the Noles to a field goal down in the red zone.
With the noise down there, Winston has moved up under center. Takes a direct snap, and Wilder is stuffed by the middle of Auburn's defense. This brings up 3rd and long, and it's danger time.
Look at the linebackers attacking downhill. This is what they've got to be able to do, not let the guards and the center climb up to the 2nd level. Obviously pinned back into their own territory. Pretty good idea what Winston might be doing under center. They attack downhill, and they get them now to 3rd down and long. And this is where D4 30 and Carl Lawson, the true freshman, the 2 defensive ends, are going to try to get after Jameis Winston.
Abram off of Jimbo Fisher's bench to help protect. Auburn determined to get heat on the Heisman Trophy winner. Snaps it off. Benjamin incomplete. It's 3 and out, and Mincy with coverage on the 6'6" Benjamin.
The best thing that Mincy does here is he has eyes on the football. He's anticipating. He bails from his press coverage. Look at his eyes. He's from the word go. He had his eyes turned and looking at Jameis Winston. The reason that's important on 3rd down is he knows when he needs to break on the football. It's a mismatch with size. He's only 5'10" against 6'5", but he broke on the ball early and made the play.
Jason Beatty from his end zone. Chris Davis awaits. He's got to return. Up the middle, up the gut. To the 24-yard line where it's 1st and 10. And Auburn within striking distance.
And Brett, let's go back to the punt by Stephen Clark, who pinned him inside the 1-yard line. That is why Auburn right now has an opportunity to score.
Watching the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. Area coverage provided by Goodyear. Game-changing, superior performance when it counts. Goodyear, more driven. 3-0, Florida State with the lead. And Auburn with outstanding field position after that punt return. They show the direct snap and off to Lewis on the outside, and he is out of bounds.
Brett, they lined up Greg Robinson, one of the best left tackles in football, out wide with the receivers trying to give him a better blocker. Again, one of these little wrinkles from the Auburn offense.
2nd down and 8. Mason dancing to the 19-yard line, and Brooks again.
That battle up front is getting physical. Mario Edwards that time went right through Greg Robinson, just ran him over, trying to set the tone for the Noles. But this is where Auburn and Gus Malzahn, this is where they want to be. It's still 3rd and 5, but it gives them the option of running what they like to do in their run game, but also possibility of the play action. It makes Florida State have to think about that.
Marshall fires again for another 1st down at the 13-yard line. Uzomah makes his first catch of the game. C.J. Uzomah.
Bringing pressure on the inside, and Telvin Smith is soft enough on 3rd down. An easy throw, get it out quick, right over top of the blitz, and Telvin Smith deep enough that makes that throw much easier for Marshall.
There is a big surprise in this game. Auburn has come to throw the football. Marshall is 4 of 6 for 41 yards here in the early going. Now he keeps it. Broke the first tackle and still going to about the 12-yard line. Marshall, of course, an outstanding athlete if you go back to his days at Georgia as a defensive back. And then, of course, got into some trouble, so he was kicked off the team. Went to a junior college back in Kansas. Gus Malzahn came as the head coach, and he was looking for someone like Cam Newton to run this attack. And the young man had paid his dues and was doing well. He brought him on board, and here he is tonight with a 2nd down and 9. End zone, incomplete. That was a jump ball, and Ronald Darby, the fine nickelback for the Noles, was all over it.
I think Sammy Coates got some separation from Darby. The ball just is late. And with the ball being late, it gives Darby enough time to come back to the football. Coates initially gets behind him, but you see the ball is thrown back, and Darby is easily able to locate the football and just knock it down.
Malzahn calling the play after seeing the personnel and what Florida State had on the field. Drops it off to Mason. End zone, our first touchdown. Trey Mason hits pay dirt for Auburn. They will show 2. Now they will switch back into their regular kicking formation, and this is Cody Parkey who will kick this. He's a young man from Jupiter, Florida. Broke all the high school records down in that town, not far from West Palm Beach. And Parkey nails the extra point. It was 3rd and 9, Herbie.
Yeah, they capitalized on Florida State. Telvin Smith in the middle of the screen goes over to the right with Jay Prosh. It left nobody back to the left. 3rd down. Again, a bust here by Florida State, but this time, Nick Marshall and Auburn able to take advantage of it and get the ball into the end zone.
And a story for the first time since September 28th against Boston College, or 583 minutes, 42 seconds. Florida State trails. That's right, they went 9.5 games They actually caught the Eagles at the very end of the first half in that game with a long pass to Shaw from Jameis Winston. So one thing that Auburn said they were going to do, we're going to hit the Noles in the mouth, and we're going to see how they respond. And here we are. Whitfield going to take a knee, and it'll be up to Jameis Winston and the attack from the 25.
Yeah, this is a very big drive for Winston and Jimbo Fisher, maintaining their poise and their patience with their play calling. You know, you go back to what Nick Marshall and Auburn is doing. You said they're throwing a little bit more than we expect. I think what they've adjusted and Gus Malzahn has adjusted to is Jeremy Pruitt's defense selling out against that powerful running game that they had those last 2 or 3 weeks of the season, leaving themselves one-on-one in coverage, and Auburn's going to have to execute in their pass game tonight. They knew that coming in.
Freeman is the running back alongside Jameis. Freeman was able to battle through that first defender. Gabe Wright was there along with Ladarius Owens, and this defensive front starting to get a little pressure.
The equalizer for Auburn in tonight's game has got to be the defensive line, because Florida State can run the football so well, they can throw the ball so well. If you'd like to keep two safeties back in coverage, it means your defensive line and linebackers have to hold up against the run, and you need penetration like that from Gabe Wright.
And here comes Winston on an option, and he is brought down by Casanova McKenzie. It's interesting that O'Leary, the tight end for the Noles, has improved so much as a blocker. They actually had him take on Ford, the outstanding defensive end that time, and he did a good job. Third down now and 2.
Brent, watching from here, it still feels that Florida State is adjusting to the speed and the execution of this Auburn defensive front. They're still trying to figure out what Ellis Johnson is doing with the front and with the coverage.
Again, it's Winston under Ford pressure, and down he goes with a sack. This was the game plan, Herbie, that Ellis told us about. We've got to get Winston on his back.
Yeah, they get him to third down, and this is where they're so confident. We talked about it the first series, how important it is for their defensive ends. He's right here. He doesn't bite on that at all. In fact, he gets in there so quickly, Jameis Winston did not have a chance either to throw it to O'Leary or dump it down to his back. Perfect execution, well-prepared Auburn defense there on third down.
Remember now, Chris Davis is back on this punt. He just had a 22-yard return to set up the first touchdown for Auburn. They ran into Beatty. There's the flag. If it's running into the punter, it won't be enough to give him a first down. But if it's a personal foul, it'll be automatic.
Personal foul. Yeah. Roughing the kicker. Defense to the 23. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
That was young Jonathan Ford being talked to by the coaches. He will rough the punter here and commit the personal foul. You can take a look at it.
Comes
right there.
Comes right up the middle. Brent tries to put his right hand there, tries to hit his spot, but he runs right into him and roughs him. And this, it'd be interesting to see how this drive finishes. But an error like that, with the momentum clearly favoring Auburn, now you give the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback in Florida State another chance to continue this drive.
Jimbo Fisher's going to have to adjust some things because Jameis has gone down on 2 third-down sacks. Williams, slips out of the backfield. Here with the reception, and he was nailed by Thurisi. I mean, I'm telling you, Robinson, Thurisi, this is a different kind of team than what Florida State faced in the ACC. There is no doubt about this.
It's just so much more athletic, of course. But I think, you know, what do you do if you're Jimbo Fisher? Is you've got to challenge your offensive line. You can call any play you want, but if you're losing the battle in the trenches to a better defensive line and an defensive line that's more athletic and getting penetration, it doesn't really matter whether you run or whether you throw. The offensive line ultimately has to take this game over for Winston.
And he'll run into a gap, and the linebackers close quickly. Chris Frost bringing him down, number 17.
You also have an Auburn defense that's had to hear for 30 days how inept they've been this year, how they've been the Achilles heel, how they've been the weakness. It's amazing in these BCS years what we've seen with teams that here for 30 or 40 days, how they've been that weakness and how it motivates them collectively. In the early going, this Auburn defense is playing with a major chip on its shoulder.
Jimbo searching. as we come to the end of the first quarter. Another underdog, Auburn leading. We'll be back after these messages. You're watching the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. We welcome you back to the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. Brent Musburger with Kirk Herbstreit, Heather Cox, and Tom Rinaldi. Auburn leading Florida State 7-3. We open the second quarter with a third down for Florida State, and they need 9 yards. O'Leary trying to slip out. Winston goes the other side, and it was deflected by Davis. Davis on Green knocked it down.
Auburn right now getting pressure. They blitz. They leave their corners on an island, and Chris Davis gets physical. Eyes on the football, knocks it away. And I'll tell you right now, Mency on one side, Chris Davis on the other, holding up very, very well in man-to-man coverage. And at this point, Florida State now 1 of 5 on third down.
Beware of a team when everybody says they can't do something. They could not stop Kelvin Benjamin. He hasn't caught a pass in this game. Davis is back deep on this 4th and 9 punt again. And remember, they roughed the punter the last time, and that gave Florida State a fresh set of downs, and Jameis Winston unable to do anything with it. So from behind Beatty, Davis is now standing back on the Auburn 17-yard line. So they're going to flip field position after that penalty, if nothing else. Booms hit high. Fair catch by Davis at the 15-yard line. And that's where Auburn will go to work. Leading 7-3. We'll be right back to Pasadena. Well, the DirecTV mobile studio has traveled the country throughout this college football season, and it's with us here in Pasadena for the championship game. Offensive coordinator for Gus Malzahn is Rhett Lashley. Lashley's a story. He was a quarterback in high school, and if you think that Gus Malzahn only runs, think again. Lashley threw 71 passes in 2 games for him. Now, notice how they separate on the sideline. That's a story. Gus likes to get closer to the line of scrimmage. Lashley likes to watch the safeties. That's how they set up. First down and 10. Breaking free is Mason. And he wants a penalty, Herbie.
I think the ball came out there as he went down, and he's saying he was down. He breaks free, and this is what Auburn wants to be able to do. Boy, it's going to be very close. I'm sure they're going to take another look at that, Brent. As he goes down, the ball comes out. It looks like his backside is in fact down.
So certainly upstairs here, Tom Herbert, our fine replay official, taking a quick look at it. Again, this is a Big Ten officiating crew.
There's enough evidence in those replays to show them that he in fact is down. Let's move on.
Let me tell you about Tom. He makes quick decisions, but that time he wanted one more look.
The last second.
I tell you, he got it down there and said, "Hold on here, John. Let's take another look at this, okay?"
And a bigger story for Jimbo Fisher's defense. That's the first time Trey Mason has popped through.
The ruling on the field was the ball came loose before the runner was down before the ball came out. That ruling is under further review.
We've seen Auburn do so many different things. You can see the big fullback coming through, leading the way, but it's the offensive line. Remember, this offense is built on deception. They want to get you thinking about a lot of different things and making you defend a lot of different areas, and you get so caught up in Nick Marshall and his throwing, you forget about Nick Marshall and those responsibilities, and he can pop one. I think he's down.
Left thigh was down.
Yeah, I think he's down.
No question about it.
Yeah.
So there are several problems looming here for the Seminoles.
Is confirmed. First down.
So it's a first down, and Herbie, you made the point that was indeed Mason's best run of the night.
Yeah, and when you get Mason going up the middle, remember 304 yards rushing against Missouri in the SEC championship game, but when you get him established up the middle, boy, he can do so many different things. Getting the ball out to the edge with the option attack, setting up play action, because it affects the linebackers and the safeties having to respect the inside run.
Reese Dismukes is the ringleader of this offensive line. He's an outstanding center. He brings Marshall up to the line, and they pitch it to the outside, and nothing doing as Corey Grant was taken down by Brooks.
And Florida State was determined coming into this game. They might give up some plays up the middle, but they do not want to give up plays to the outside. They don't want to get outflanked. Nice job by Brooks being in position and then making the open play in space.
And now there is a penalty flag.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, 20, defense, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
That's LaMarcus Joyner, one of their leaders.
And Brent, he took a wide receiver from Auburn all the way to the sideline, and he's a leader. He's got to be very careful. Look at the top, right in here in the middle. He starts to take a swing there. They're out of bounds. A little bit of a push, a little bit of a flop by Reed, but I think it may have been called even before Reed went down there towards the end.
Corey Grant stays in. They sometimes motion him, as they do here. Play action, fire wide open in the middle. In a foot race is Melvin Ray. Touchdown, Auburn. A 50-yard strike. And again, Gus Malzahn has found a wide open middle against Jimbo Fisher's Florida State Seminoles.
The linebackers are getting lulled to sleep with all the different looks and the quick huddles, and all of a sudden you have a new back in Corey Grant in, and they've been hearing about it for 30 days. Okay, when 20 comes in, you got to expect a jet sweep. Look for the jet sweep. They got lulled to sleep. Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley break a tendency, and they get the ball behind the coverage to Melvin Ray.
Cody Parkey tacks on the extra point. 85 yards. 3 plays for Auburn of the SEC.
And Corey Grant is right here for 30 days. They've heard when 20 comes in, get ready for this and get ready for the running game. Here's Ray who gets behind him. But watch the Florida State linebackers. They get lulled to sleep right here. They're so caught up in the running game, they lose track of what can happen behind them. And that's an easy throw from Nick Marshall. Well executed for the Auburn Tiger offense. And they right now have this Noles defense on its heels and confused.
There's some folks who love the favorite. They're a little uneasy right now.
The 2014 Vizio BCS National Championship is brought to you by Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind. Tostitos Chips and Dips, bring the party. Capital One Bank, official partner of the BCS. AT&T, rethink possible. And Nissan and the all-new Rogue. Nissan, innovation that excites.
The BCS from 2003 to 2006, Mac Brown right here on this stadium with Vince Young in Texas. And perhaps the best game of the BCS era, beating USC and Pete Carroll. Whitfield is back deep. And he's going to come out to the 21-yard line.
You know, the average margin of victory for this Florida State team is 42 points. It's one thing to be kind of that it quarterback when things are going well. You won the Heisman as a freshman. Now is when you need to step up and be a leader, challenge that offensive line, get them to help you. Obviously a long way to go, but this is when we really find out about who Jameis Winston is as a competitor and a leader of this team.
Backup rushmen on the field for Auburn. They continue to rotate, and they've got some talented freshmen on this team. First down, Winston fires for Shaw, incomplete, and the safety was coming over. He basically threw the double coverage, and Therese was right there. So there is the offensive line led by Stork, Matias and Jackson, Hart and Irving. Each of these fellas won some kind of a postseason honor in the ACC or nationally. Stork, of course, the Remington winner, and Irving was voted the best lineman in the ACC. So it is 2nd down and 10. Showing pressure. They back out at a 4-man rush. Winston high and incomplete. They got what they wanted, and it's 3rd down and 10, and the freshman is struggling.
The last play, they disguised pressure and brought it, and he struggled to be able to throw with accuracy. This time they put a lot of pressure on him, and then they drop back. They're doing such a good job of mixing it up. You know, the last 9 attempts that he has, 1 of 7 with 2 sacks.
Now Ford back in. D. Ford into stand-up in position on the left side as they shift and they draw a false start. They pick up 5 more yards.
Offense number 35.
Just a basic shift. And the team that is rusty and not playing well at all is the big favorite, Florida State.
There's Nick O'Leary, the big tight end. A miscue for Florida State. You and I have called a lot of games in this stadium. There are so many Auburn fans at that end of the field. You'd think we're at Jordan-Hare. It is loud and difficult to communicate for Florida State's offensive line, and I think it's adding to the confusion of what they're dealing with as an offense.
3rd down and 15. Williams and Freeman are in as the running backs. Going to run Freeman on a sweep. Big hole, but he's down short of the 1st down at the 26-yard line. Ryan White, a senior safety from Tallahassee.
Cannot say it enough what a job Ellis Johnson and this defense have done with the scheme that they brought into the game. Very, very aggressive with the way they're playing. The talented group of wide receivers, so far a non-factor in this game. It's easy to point the finger to Jameis Winston, but his teammates up front with the offensive line and the receivers also being challenged by this Auburn defense.
So Auburn came in with the intent to make Florida State play in the 4th quarter. That might happen. They said the Florida State thinks this game is a 3-quarter game. We're going to make them play the entire distance. And they're delivering a message here early with a 14-3 lead. It's all Tigers here in Pasadena.
This year's AT&T All-America Player of the Year is A.J. McCarron of Alabama. On behalf of AT&T, we'd like to congratulate A.J. and thank all the college football fans out there who voted. The AT&T All-America Player of the Year is determined by the fans' vote. Back to Brent Kirk.
A.J. McCarron, of course, won the last 2 national championships with Alabama. But he felt the sting of Auburn in the Iron Bowl. And now it is 1st and 10 for the Tigers, who are growling here in Pasadena. Mason back in as the running back. Marshall keeps it, and Edwards hits him immediately for a loss. Edwards beat his man, read it perfectly.
And the defensive ends against this offensive attack have to deal with so much, whether you're being read in this case, or you've got a guard pulling around, or you have an H-back that might seal you. Great job of coming down and attacking the quarterback that time by the big sophomore Mario Edwards.
Marshall is 6 of 9 throwing so far for over 100 yards. Prosh is his tough fullback off to the left. Draw play with Mason. Right side. Daylight. Midfield. 1st down, Auburn.
Just not used to seeing Florida State missing tackles in the open field. A good block. How about these receivers, the way they block downfield? Sammy Coates, great effort that time on P.J. Williams, but a missed tackle by the freshman Jalen Ramsey gave him the 1st.
Ready to go again. Marshall keeps it. He finds a crease behind the right side of his offensive line. A good 1st down run. Jalen Ramsey, the freshman, forced to make the stop. Auburn is dominating at both ends, offensively and defensively in this game. You would think they are the double-digit favorite in this game and not Florida State. Malzahn has never coached out of a press box. As an offensive coordinator or a high school coach, he never, ever went upstairs. He doesn't know what it's like up there in a coach's booth. Play action. Fires too high and incomplete. And his receiver was covered that time. He was looking back at Uzomah.
Interesting, you brought up earlier Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley. One at the line of scrimmage, and that's Gus Malzahn on the far left. I guess Beyonce is getting involved here with Jay-Z on this call. And then down the field about 15, 20 yards, you have Lashley, the offense coordinator. And every time his quarterback looks over to the head coach is talking to the coordinator and saying, what are you seeing in coverage? They're communicating and then eventually getting the call back out to Nick Marshall.
3rd down and 2. Marshall keeps it. An easy 1st down. And he's pushed out of bounds hard on that far side by Darby.
Look at the guys in the backfield. Prosh here and also Fultz. They lead the end. They get around the edge. Reed there, pull it to the outside. And now you've got 2 lead blockers leading Marshall around the edge. This is something they had a lot of success with against Missouri and Alabama late in the year by having those 2 big H-backs out there. It puts so much on a defense to avoid being outflanked and having too many numbers to have to account for.
And our injured players that know, but I want to go back and talk about the combination. It's a very interesting story, Irby, that you bring up. Is Lashley, there he is on the left, the offense quarterback, but there he is on the right as a quarterback at Shiloh Christian High School in Arkansas. And they have maintained a friendship ever since. So last year, Gus Malzahn goes to Arkansas State. He's the head coach. Now he hires Lashley as his offensive coordinator, and they've got their first game against Oregon. He sends Lashley upstairs to the box. The Ducks jump on him. Gets on a headset, and Gus said, Brett, get down here and get down here fast and straighten this out. So Lashley came out of the box, down to the sideline. Of course, they couldn't catch Oregon. Oregon had a very good team. But he's been on the sideline ever since. And remember, when they call plays, he goes to look at the safeties, and Gus wants to be behind to see what's happening with his offense. So they work perfectly together. 1st down and 10. Here comes Mason. A punishing runner. Herbie, when I looked at the tape of the Missouri game, I just couldn't believe that he rushed for better than 300 yards. We had seen that Missouri defense. That's pretty good.
Their style played right into the hands of what Auburn wanted to do, but he has such patience. Good low center of gravity, lateral quickness, fits perfectly into Gus Malzahn's offense and what they try to do, and I think complements Nick Marshall and his quickness to the edge very, very well.
And by the way, he carried it 46 times. Marshall keeps it, runs away from Edwards, who catches him from behind, and that stopped him from picking up the 1st down. So it's 3rd down and short.
And Edwards has just been a different player this year. Last year he came in one of the most highly touted defensive players coming out of high school football, but he was in and he was overweight and had to sit behind some very talented defensive ends. You know, he went from 305 down to about 275 this year and has made such a difference by dropping the weight and playing with so much more quickness there off the edge for the Noles.
So defensive coordinator Pruitt is allowed to sub the Noles because Auburn brought substitutions onto the field. When you work against the hurry-up, that's what you look for. And Mason batters straight ahead. Jernigan, one of the best interior linemen of the country, Timothy Jernigan, is right there. But again, they move the chains.
Here comes the hurry up. You're getting caught up in the running game. Sammy Coates is alone up at the top. They love him when he gets in one-on-one coverage. He's up against P.J. Williams.
Lewis, the motion, and there was a flag prior to the snap. The line judge coming over to tell John O'Neill what the problem is here.
Encroachment, number 1 offense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
And that is Reed, wide receiver, guilty on that play. So that'll make it 1st and 15, and the ball will be brought back to about the 27-yard line.
This Auburn offense, number 1 in the nation coming in as far as their ability to run the football. And tonight it's been a much more balanced attack. We're seeing Marshall throw the ball as we've seen earlier this year when teams have loaded up against the run.
There's Mason on that draw. So it'll be 2nd down and long. Terrence Smith, and we haven't mentioned these linebackers' names very often here so far. Telvin Smith, Terrence Smith, Christian Jones, They've had a little bit of a difficult time out here against this pace and this punishing running game, and some of these linemen have been getting to the second level on it.
And you see Florida State's defensive linemen hands on their hips. This is the 10th play of this drive against tempo. It really can affect the defensive linemen and how well they play up front.
This is huge from a Nole situation. Down already 14-3. Marshall, far side, incomplete, and this will be third down and long. They are within field goal range.
Brent, that was a miscommunication with Sammy Coates in the quarterback in reading coverage and adjusting your route based on what you're seeing. He sees the man, but what he doesn't see, Coates, is a safety over top. There's no way the quarterback's going to throw that with Jalen Ramsey there at the end coming into the picture, sitting back there. So he tried to throw it underneath, and Coates ended up not reading the coverage the correct way.
Yeah, they need to reach the 13-yard line here for a first down. Marshall runs away from the pressure on the move. Now he's got to keep it. He knew he was across that scrimmage line, and this will set up a field goal attempt. And so here comes Cody Parkey.
This time they hit him actually with a big play through the middle of the defense against cover 2. That time Nate Andrews took it away. Remember, Auburn hit a big throw there. They forced Marshall to try to come up with a scramble to try to have to pick up the first down. Good pressure by Jones, and eventually they force him out of bounds.
There was hesitation on that far side. You don't think he would attempt a fake here, do you? It is 4th down and 3. White is the holder for Cody Parkey. And oh, by the way, his high school snapper from Jupiter, he's the snapper for the other team, Florida State tonight. So here's Parkey. Uh-oh, outside. Misses the 33-yard attempt. No good.
He's now 14 of 20 on the year, and Florida State catches a break. Something that they need to try to change the complexion of the football game.
Slid it to the right. You're watching the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. (14-3) Auburn over Florida State. The Noles have been held to 78 yards here in the first half. Freeman with the handoff on first down, trying to make it nice. Jimbo Fisher is searching for anything, Herbie, to get a long touchdown drive here.
And I think the thing that we've talked about from the first time they had the ball is a combination of Ellis Johnson calling a great game defensively for Auburn, and Auburn's defensive line and the confusion whipping the Noles up front in the trenches. Here they are again, moving late.
In trouble. Fumble. Loose ball. Battle for it. Auburn says they've got it, and they do. Winston turns it over. It's a meltdown by the #1 team in the country. Forced that fumble that time was Bradley. Ben Bradley and Angelo Blackson were on the field. Backups.
We just talked about how they're getting beat up front, Brent, and because of the confusion, both guys involved there, the ball clearly out, recovered there by the linebacker, Anthony Swain, who was coming on the blitz. But as we were talking there, I was talking about the late movement by the defensive line and linebackers, again, affecting the continuity and the chemistry and the communication with that Florida State offensive line.
First down and 10. Mason picks his way to the 25-yard line. Goldman with the stop.
Go back to that play. It looks like a four-man front, and then all of a sudden they end up moving and shifting right before the ball snapped. The linebacker, Anthony Swain, walks up over the B-gap. They show pressure, and they bring it. And again, they got to him that time.
Straight ahead, and this will bring up a third down short of the 20-yard line. Remember, just moments ago now, Auburn missed a field goal. And now they've got it back. Gus Malzahn doesn't want to settle for another field goal right now. But he's got a big third down for Nick Marshall as Winston attempts to figure it out here on the near side.
Constantly changing their personnel groupings, formations, forcing Florida State to communicate and try to stay on par with the different personnel groups coming in.
Marshall Great grab here by Bray. Picks up the first down. Marshall continues to impress with the ball in the air. He's the best thrower of the night, not the Heisman Trophy winner.
And how about the catch that time by Quan Bray, who's been a really nice slot receiver for this offense. But look how open he is. It's a great throw by Nick Marshall, but a better design by Gus Malzahn and Rhett Lashley to get him open in the flat there on third down.
Terrific performance by these two offensive guards, Slade and Kozan, holding the fort. Mason picks his way behind them down to the 5-yard line on that first down.
There's the patience and that lateral cut right there. He doesn't lose any of his acceleration.
Coming back with the quarterback. And he crosses the 5-yard line. So here comes your third down.
When Marshall and Auburn, if they have had such success on 1st and 10. With this offense, their big part of being successful is getting to 2nd and 5 and 2nd and 3, and that's where they've lived here these last few series. Confusion again for Florida State. Who to get on, who to get off. Look at him.
Here comes Power. Fultz is the tight end, number 11. They're going to run away from him. No, Marshall keeps it as he did against Missouri. And he walks in. Who amongst you thought that Auburn could perhaps blow Florida State out? I don't know anybody who thought that was possible. This is a great performance by athletes and a coaching staff. Now Parkey settles his nerves after missing that field goal. Got it right back on the Winston turnover that set this up.
That's right. You got to go back to an opportunity presented by this Auburn defense. They've been playing well all night. They got pressure. They brought it late. Jameis Winston, that offensive line confused. Winston trying to make something happen. The ball comes out. Those Tigers, that Tiger defense is all over it. And then it sets up Nick Marshall in this offense. And you get so concerned with the interior run. And all he does is read it and then follow those two big H-backs to the outside and then has the speed to outrun Telvin Smith to get to the corner of the end zone. And they are up 21-3.
Now Gus Malzahn celebrating still another touchdown. He likes to say, boom. And that's exactly what happened. Let's go down to Tom Rinaldi.
That's not only what he said. Seeing his players come off, he said repeatedly after that drive, we're better than they are. We're better than them. Exhorting his team to continue to press the foot on the pedal. Brent?
Tom, I can hear behind you, SEC. Looking for their 8th straight championship. And how about the state of Alabama? How about that? They would have 5 of them. 3 for the Tide and 2 for the Tigers. But we still got a long way to go. There's still a lot of talent out here, so hang on now. Whitfield looking to give him a spark, and he's dangerous on the return. 25, 30, and slipped.
Brett, I'm glad you brought that up because it's 21-3, and people in the South and down in the SEC are excited because of what Auburn's doing. But this is still a Florida State team that has the ability to strike and strike quickly. But somebody, whether it's the quarterback Winston, the offensive line, they've got to come together as a group and realize there's so much football to still be played. They get the ball to start the second half, but it starts with just getting a first down and reestablishing some confidence.
Most talented defensive front by far. They are forcing one mistake after another against the Noles.
Number 75. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
And they're still in that area of the stadium where the crowd's affecting. That time it's the left tackle, Cameron Irving, who jumps a little bit too early.
Heather Cox told us that they were tinkering with the silent count for a while. And that's not working out too well. They come back with a running play with Williams, a converted safety. And Williams is out to the 35-yard line.
We've talked so much about the athletic ability of Auburn tonight, Brent, on this side of the ball. The other thing that you've got to mention is the way they have been on the receivers from Florida State. They have 16 yards after the catch. That's an area that they have made a living this year against defenses.
And Jimbo Fisher wants to keep it on the ground with Williams to the 40-yard line, and Jake Holland, linebacker from Pelham, Alabama, brings him down. And so here comes another third down, but it is quite clear right now that Fisher wants to take it out of Winston's passing hand and see what he can do with the run game here. Now they'll have him back in the gun. And this time he will throw again. Dropped. So just when they get a receiver open, Green drops it on the cut, and that would have been a first down.
It all seems to go hand in hand in these games with so much pressure, and all of a sudden you're in uncharted territory for Florida State. You think about Winston pressing. How about the offensive line jumping at times and having an illegal procedure? The receiver as good as Rashad Green, one of the best in the country. An easy first down, the ball slips through his hands. It's mistake after mistake after mistake, and you've got to give Auburn the credit for creating the intensity in this game and forcing these miscues by Florida State.
So Davis goes back again, and Beatty punting. A fake. And they bring an end around off of it, and they're going to get a first down with Williams. So looking for something to happen, Jimbo Fisher whistles up the fake punt. And let's see if that gives his team a lift.
Brent, I'm with you. I think they're looking for something to try to spark their team. Here he is out here. This is deep in their own territory. You imagine if this did not work out, but they catch him at the right time, and Williams has the speed to get around the corner and pick up the first down. But a gutsy call there by Jimbo Fisher.
On 4th and 4. Winston now firing complete to the 47-yard line, and Rashad Green holds on that time.
And Brent, I love that he went right back to Rashad Green. He just dropped a big third down. This guy's been making plays for you all year. They give him a chance on the almost exact same route, and this time with better coverage, Green holds on to the football.
O'Leary off the sideline. So the big 4 of receivers are out there for Winston. It's a run play all the way. And he picks up the first down on that second down before Swain and wrestle the quarterback down.
This is something they've not shown a lot of, is just a quarterback run from Winston. What you have with Freeman there leading the way, picks up the Reezy, is an extra blocker and one more man for the Auburn defense to have to account for. They're a man short. Good call there, and they pick up the first down.
Ball is at the Auburn 40-yard line. Complete. And he hits wide receiver Green again. Davis with coverage.
They're getting the ball out of the hands quicker now with Winston, and it's a crossing route against that man coverage. How do you combat man-to-man? You either try to go downfield with better athletes, or you have crossers or rub routes, just trying to get those defenders who are like glue tonight away from your wide receivers. A good underneath, hard underneath cut that time by Green.
Ball at the 27-yard line. Running play with Freeman, and Frost stopped him.
Big Nick O'Leary, Brent, your guy, who's improved so much. Kind of playing that role as an H-back, leading the way. Pretty good block there, but Chris Frost, a sophomore, lowers the boom there, reminding Freeman and the Noles that they're playing an SEC defense.
Inside of a couple of minutes here in the first half. Winston in trouble. Now he throws it downfield, deflected incomplete. I know you were looking for a face mask, but I don't see a penalty flag out there, my friend.
I'm with
Chris
you.
Davis was back there with Ryan White.
I thought he grabbed his face mask.
Well, it's just a finger.
A finger? I mean, he almost pulled him down with a finger. I'm shocked that they didn't give that call. It's right in front of the referee, but he still tries to keep the play alive. And I'll tell you what, Brent, because his momentum was falling backwards, he didn't have much on that ball, and it was almost intercepted there by Auburn.
3rd and 8. Florida State without a touchdown in the first half. And we're down to 143. Takes off. Slips a tackler. 10, 5, out of bounds. First down and goal. Brian White saves a touchdown on the play, but it is first and goal for the Noles.
They brought pressure, and there's nobody left underneath in man-to-man coverage. They lost their eyes because of the man-to-man. They lost Jameis Winston with their backs turned, running with the receivers. And Winston, for a big guy, hit 6'4", about 230 pounds, making some people miss in the open field. A big drive. They score here. Remember, they get the ball to start the second half as well.
Freeman, touchdown, Florida State. What they needed, and remember what it came off. A fake punt on 4th and 4, kept it alive, and who knows, that could be a game-saving drive.
Brent, not only was it a gutsy call by Jimbo Fisher to pick up the first down, but as you can feel in this stadium, it changed the momentum of the football game after Winston ends up taking this team down and putting the ball into the end zone.
Aguayo.
That ruling is under further review.
So they're going to take another look at it here upstairs in instant replay. I didn't think watching it live that there was much of a question, but let's take another look and see and make sure that Devontae got across the plane before the knee's down.
I think it was back about 3 yards where his knee right there, but a little further back. I mean, it's a touchdown, but I think that's what they might be taking a look at.
So that leaves Auburn here after the extra point with 1:28 remaining in the first half.
The ruling on the previous play of touchdown is confirmed.
Jimbo continuing to coach up his freshman, who after that fake punt led his best drive of the night. Winston 6 of 15 for 62 yards. And Aguayo tacks on the extra point.
Go back to what you've been talking about, Brent. 4th and 4, look in their own territory. Carlos Williams gets just enough with his speed to the corner to pick it up, and at Jameis Winston, a big play here as they blitz him. They've had success doing that. A little stiff arm, a little move in the open field. Florida State's deep inside Auburn territory, and they capitalize. 11 plays and 66 yards, a touchdown, changes the complexion of the game, and also, Brent, it gives this young quarterback and this young offense some confidence that they can move the ball against Auburn. Sigh of relief as much as anything. He's thinking, man, we've been scoring at will. We've been averaging 8 yards a play this year. They have had to work for every inch tonight in this first half.
On this return, Grant and Bray are back deep. And Corey Grant will be the near side return man. .128 remaining in the first half. It's 21-10 Auburn. This is going to be taken by Bray at the goal line. Breaks it out. Nice return to about the 28-yard line. Well, a reminder that the college football playoff is coming to ESPN next season, ushering in a new era. For the first time ever at the highest level of this sport, the top 4 teams in the country will compete in a seeded playoff to determine the national champion. College football playoff begins January 1st, 2015, only on ESPN, and one of the semifinal games will be right here in the Rose Bowl.
You always have the inside info. They're doing away with the crystal ball, right? Do you know what the trophy is going to be next year?
They've got a whole brand new trophy. Where do you see it? I can't give it away. I'm sworn to secrecy. They'd have to kill me if I told you. First down and 10. Mason Mason is out to the 34-yard line, and he's rushed now for 89 yards. Telvin Smith making the stop.
I'm watching Gus Malzahn, and he's still in hurry-up mode. I mean, you know, they have 2 timeouts. Just about a minute to go here in the half. Let's see what he does here on this second down. No reason to think about it. You could be pretty content with an 11-point lead against this Florida State team.
Mason again. And a reminder that they're coming up now. Stay tuned for the Buick halftime report.
Now I'm starting to wonder if the Seminoles with 3 timeouts. Looks like Jimbo Fisher also going to let this clock work its way down.
He said, make him punt. That's what the assistant coach said to Jimbo.
Second timeout charge to Florida State.
You know,
for a second.
With a quarterback and with a passing game like this, I'm a little surprised that he let it go all the way down. And I think you read the lips there of the assistant. They just
so
said,
you got to call it right away.
Punt. I call it right away because
as soon as he says make him punt, you turn and say get the timeout.
Make him punt, and also who knows, with the possibility of your quarterback and your receivers,
right,
maybe they can make a play and maybe get the field goal range.
Herbie, the story of the first half is Auburn. Clearly, I mean, this is an unbelievable performance.
You always wonder with 30 days to prepare how it can affect the
right,
teams, not just the X's and O's, but the psychological approach. Auburn came in with a chip on their shoulder. Their defense has played out of their minds. If you watched them play this year, this is the best game plan and the best they played all year and the best intensity they played with all year. Now, it's only a half. You and I said at 21-3, be careful. The Noles can still get back in this game. They get a touchdown, and they're going to get the ball back to start the second half. This thing is a long way from being over.
And that fake punt, the call by Jimbo Fisher and the Noles coaching staff, enabled them to march down and score their only touchdown. Marshall going to go deep, going to go for it all. It's going to be incomplete. So Malzahn rolled the dice here, and there are 5 seconds left. Coates was the deep receiver for Marshall. Darby was right with him with coverage, and now we have the final 5 seconds.
Well, Nick Marshall does not get the credit that he probably deserves in throwing the football. We've heard a lot about that this last month. He threw for 113 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. We knew his arm would be a factor if the Auburn team was going to move the ball and score.
Now you wonder if the Noles will go all out here on big Stephen Clark's punt. Here they come, and he gets it off. Shaw just going to let it bounce. Stay away from it. As the first half comes to an end, and folks, the first half is a story because for the first time this season, Florida State trails at halftime. Let's go down to Heather Cox.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach, how did that fake punt on 4th and 4 and the ensuing touchdown change momentum and confidence for you guys?
Well, we had to. We lost momentum in the game. We had to gain it back. We had to do something to make a change. And our kids are relaxed now, and they're playing ball again. That's just a matter of going out, blocking, tackling, doing the things we do. Like I say, we're down 21-10, but I like where we're at. I mean, we got the ball coming out. We get some points. We're right back in this ball game. It ought to be a great second half.
Jimbo, thank you. Let's head over to Tom with Gus.
Heather, thanks very much. Gus up by 2 scores heading into the half. Why have you been so effective on both sides of the ball?
Well, our defense is playing lights out. We missed a couple opportunities down here. Of course, they had the fake punt right there, and it cost a touchdown. But I like where we're at. Second half, we're going to try to wear them down.
Good luck, Gus. Appreciate it. Brent?
232 yards of offense for Auburn. 156 for Florida State. 21-10 at the end of the first half here in Pasadena. Stay tuned after these messages for the Buick halftime report on ESPN.
Welcome to the Buick halftime report.
Well, so far at halftime, another stunning chapter in a very surprising bowl season as the double-digit underdogs from Auburn lead Florida State by 11 points. And this offense, led by the Heisman Trophy winners, so productive in their first 13 games, all of them wins, held in check tonight by an Auburn defense that was riddled by every top-flight quarterback that it faced in the SEC, from Manziel to McCarron, Mettenberger, Murray, and James Franklin. So we turn to our guest analyst, Nick Saban. What is this Auburn defense that was pulled apart at times this year doing so well so far against Winston?
Well, you know, the first thing they're doing is they're challenging the receivers. I mean, they're up on them, covering them, they're jamming them. They're doing a nice job in man-to-man. You know, it's forcing the quarterback to have to make better throws, and he hasn't been able to get right on target. That last drive, you know, they had a little rhythm. They haven't had any rhythm on offense. I think Florida State's got to try to run the ball and take a little pressure off the quarterback. That might help them out a little bit.
Yeah, and I said before the game, Winston has got to be careful. He's been hit 6 times hard, and then he fumbled it 1 time.
He looks rattled, Lee.
Yeah, that's what I said. They rattle him, hit him. Even if they don't hit him, sacks, hit him, hit him. They got him.
Yeah, Coach, we knew that was the name of the game. They had to affect Winston. They came in this game saying, we need to put Winston on his back. And they started to mix up their fronts. They'll start with the 4-man front, and then they'll drop a 5th man down. They really played mind games with Jameis Winston in the first half. Not only Jameis Winston, but his offensive line, they struggle. But, Coach, you hit the nail on the head. The defensive backs are out there competing with those wide receivers.
2 of 8 on 3rd down for the Noles, 8 of 12 on 3rd down for the Auburn Tigers, including this little swing pass on a 3rd and 9. 2 very short touchdown drives sandwiched around an 85-yarder. Back after this.
This is the Buick Halftime Report. This halftime report is presented by the 259 horsepower Regal GS from Buick. Yeah, it flies.
Nick Marshall admitted he was going to be quietly fueled with the hype given his counterpart, Jameis Winston. Marshall outplaying the Heisman Trophy winner, Desmond, 7 of 13 with 2 touchdowns. But most of his throws have been pretty straightforward to open guys.
Yeah, you're right about that. And Gus Malzahn, you have to give him a lot of credit because he's designing plays so Nick Marshall can have some very easy throws where guys are wide open. What they're doing, they're using their running game to set up the pass. They'll look at the defense and how they're making adjustments to the running game, and then they'll design the pass off the same exact look. That's why you have guys running wide open down there for us. So he's making some easy throws.
Yeah, Desmond, let me tell you, they've had 29 days to get ready for Florida State. Offensively, Auburn has done a great job with the passing game, and defensively with the pass defense. That's it. They had 29 days ready, and they have well spent, boy.
Well, they've done a great job. Gus has done a really good job, but the toughest thing about a team that can run the ball like Auburn can run the ball is defending play-action passes, because you have to have the back-end guys fitting the runs. And twice they've had an opportunity. Once was a big score, once was a drop, where they could have made big plays in the passing game. But I think the key to this game is Florida State has got to create some negative plays on defense. They've got to get Auburn behind the sticks. They're 8 for 12 on 3rd down, but most of them are 3rd and short, and they're running for the 3rd to make the conversion. Sure. So if that continues, you allow Auburn to play the game exactly like they want to. They keep the ball. Florida State doesn't have it. Whether they score or not, they're using the clock.
Tough enough to stop, man. A 25-yard touchdown drive after the punt return and a 27-yard touchdown drive after the Winston fumble, capped by that Marshall run. We'll look ahead to the second half when we come back. Back in Tallahassee, the mood brightened a bit. The deficit was 18, their biggest of the season, cut to 11 after a drive resuscitated by a fake punt. The Noles still, though, facing a big mountain decline. They'll get the ball to begin the second half. How do you settle down to 5 guys in front of number 5 to get the offense going?
I think you have to let them become aggressive by running the ball. That's when linemen are at their best. You can be very aggressive when you run the ball. You look at Devontae Freeman on the first drive, his first carry was for 21 yards. And then they got pass happy. They went away from the run. Then they got into a shootout, and they had to throw the ball. I think they need to run the ball and then try to find that tight end coach, Nick O'Leary.
Well, and I think the big thing is you got to mix up the cadence. They need to go on first down. Florida State might play better if they played fast and tried not to allow Auburn to stem and move the fronts. But they got to play this game one play at a time. I mean, that's how you get back in the game. That's how you keep playing the game. Because if they just execute and do what they are capable of doing, I think they can get back in the game.
Florida State's not going to win this game unless they win it on defense. They've got to stop Auburn. They looked confused a couple of times back in the backfield. They've got to win this game on defense, keep the score down, and then Winston can catch them.
We'll see what happens in this crucial first drive of the third quarter. Auburn's defense will be on the field trying to get the ball back to that offense. By the way, the team with the halftime lead in the BCS championship game is undefeated. Something to keep in mind. It's the Tigers, big underdogs, up by 11 at the break. Second half is coming up from Pasadena.
This halftime report is presented by the 259 horsepower Regal GS from Buick. Yeah, it flies.
Welcome back to the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN.
I can see the finish line with each line that I finish. I'm so close to my goals, I can almost pole vault over the goalpost. And if I don't got enough in the tank, maybe I can just siphon enough to fill up this last can. Man, will I survive in this climate or what? They said I was washed up and got a bloodbath. I'm not a rapper, I'm an adapter. I can adjust.
For the first time this season, Florida State trailed at the intermission 21-10. Auburn leading in a battle for the BCS National Championship. The last time that we will call this the BCS National Championship. Welcome, everybody, with Kirk Herbstreit. I'm Brent Musburger, and Herbie had an amazing first half, a little buzz with this crowd as to what's going on here, but then there was that touchdown after the fake punt by the Noles.
That was big. I think they changed things around, and I really go back to the way this game started. Auburn had, I think, a chip on their shoulder with the way they played. I think they really did a nice job of being able to affect Florida State, the offense, and what they were trying to do, and it put the Noles back and, kind of on their heels on defense. This is the kind of the plays that we saw. Number one, they saw 20 get into the game. Corey Grant, they thought they'd see a jet sweep. They ended up hitting a big one to Melvin Ray behind it. Here's more confusion because of what Auburn has going on. Different formations, different personnel groups. The tempo catches them out of position. They outflank them. And again, the quarterback here, Nick Marshall, get into the end zone for their third touchdown.
And that's today's Taco Bell touchdown spotlight. Jameis Winston and the Noles offense will get the ball to start the second half. So a very important series for both of these teams coming up here in the second half. And remember what we told you at the top of the broadcast. Auburn's goal was to make Florida State play a fourth quarter. The players telling us that every time they put on the video and took a look at the fourth quarter where they were watching and scouting Florida State, it was all the second and third teamers. They were never forced to play a fourth quarter. Auburn's goal tonight, get them into the fourth quarter, get the pressure on them. We've been through the pressure cooker. Let's see what happens to Jameis Winston.
And on top of that, Gus Malzahn saying to Tom Rinaldi, hey, we want to wear him down in the second half. So not just taking him into uncharted territory, also that's what Auburn does with their style of offense. They like to try to challenge you as far as the conditioning with the tempo. They usually start to pull away from teams in that second half. So it'll be an interesting battle here these last 30 minutes.
Ball on the tee for Cody Parkey of Auburn. And away we go. Taking a knee, and the ball will come out of the 25. We check in down below with Heather Cox.
Brent, Jimbo Fisher in the locker room was very upbeat, telling his team, this is what you're going to remember forever. Make sure it's going to be the way you want to remember it. He also talked about trying to hurry things up a little bit, being more aggressive here in the second half. Then he huddled his team up right as they took the field and said, believe. Now, guys, there was some talk that Jameis Winston might have been limping off the field into the locker room. I can report he did not receive any medical treatment in the locker room during halftime.
All right, Heather, thank you. Florida State opens with two running backs. Williams and Freeman are alongside the quarterback. And they start with Devontae Williams, so they want to muscle up and see if they can get a little power running game going here. take a look at the first half at how things look for the Noles. Look at what they were averaging coming into this game.
And those are season averages in the first half on the left. Gives you an idea of what they've been able to do this year and how much of a shock they were in probably when they were listening to the halftime adjustments to Jimbo Fisher. But they have a long way to go, maintain their poise, and they got to run the football.
Blitz works. The blitz was called by Ellis Johnson, and they got there. McKenzie.
Well, they've been doing this the entire game, mixing up their looks, bringing the pressure. This time it's right here, and he just shoots through. And look at when he comes. He times it up perfectly and takes, his responsibility there is the quarterback. He can allow the defensive end D Ford and others to take the running back on the other side. He had the quarterback, and he takes Jameis Winston out.
Big boy football for the Heisman Trophy winner tonight. Here he is on third down. Under pressure. Hit on the release. It's wildly incomplete. And off the first series here in the second half. Pressure being brought by Therizi, the star linebacker.
And here they come again with this blitz. He comes free. They bring one more than he can handle, which means the quarterback has got to be able to make a play, get the ball out before Therizi gets to him. He does, but they're really affecting his rhythm and the confidence that he has in throwing the football.
A little frustrated with his quarterback right now. Didn't expect that on the first series here. Down 11 points. Davis is back deep for this punt. Beatty hangs it high. Fair catch is the signal. Fumble! And Davis dives on it quickly.
But very, very close to that ball getting away from Davis. Christian Jones down there. That ball almost popped right into the arms of Jones, but Davis, the hero from the Iron Bowl, does a good job. That ball gets up. Good job of maintaining his focus and bringing that ball in. Look how close Christian Jones was to coming up with a big turnover there for the Noles.
First down and 10. Marshall hands it off here on first down to the 40, and Telvin Smith, who did make a lot of tackles in the first half, makes another one here.
Jeremy Pruitt knew coming into this game he wanted to take away the big playability of Marshall on the edges. He wanted Auburn to prove that they can run the ball with Trey Mason up into the middle, but take away the big play of the passing game, and on the perimeter run game, see if they get back to trying to do that.
Needs 7 yards. Going to throw off the play action. Middle. Complete for a first down. The middle has been open all game long, and Sammy Coates exploits it again.
And it's the reason, look at the linebackers. They're so caught up in the run game that it opens up one-on-one, and they come back to the middle where the vacancy is in that defense.
Quick pitch to the outside, and Bray stumbling. Beats the first tackler and winds up picking up about a couple of yards on that play with Nate Andrews, the freshman from Alabama, actually on the play over there for the Noles.
Sammy Coates makes that play, Brandon. It's such a big battle back to the boundary, the short side of the field with Sammy Coates 18 and P.J. Williams. They've been going one-on-one the entire game. Williams that time gave up more of a cushion, and it gave an easy throw there for Marshall.
Marshall, a wonderful story. After leaving Georgia and having been a defensive back, going back to his high school quarterback days at JC, firing deep toward the end zone, incomplete, and no penalty flag is thrown. No penalty flag on that play. Ramsey with coverage.
But watch the eyes here. He just turned. It's the first mistake we've seen Marshall make. He just turned and threw it. Didn't look at the coverage. Looked off of the safety and just turned without even looking to see Jalen Ramsey and just threw the ball in the air. Ramsey just ran right in there into Sammy Coates.
Cut him off, didn't he?
Yeah, looked like it.
That's a third down coming up now.
Noles are known for defense with an odd front, and they like to bring pressure on third down.
Play action, looking to go down the middle, and he's got it again. Penalty flag was thrown over on the far side around the 40, back by the line of scrimmage. It was Coates again. And a holding call against Auburn.
Coates is starting to really get confident in that matchup.
Offense number 73. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, third down.
Now that's big Greg Robinson, and he's had his hands full tonight with that defensive front.
And this is Mario Edwards, who's an outstanding pass rusher right here. He's trying to get to Nick Marshall, 73. That left tackle is Robinson. They locked up one-on-one, and he pulls him down just enough at the end. That's what the referee saw, just at the end there. And that's what they made the call. That was a quick call by the referee.
So it's third down and 18. And Marshall, that flanker screen, and I should say split end screen, and Coach couldn't hang on to it over there. And now they're going to be forced to punt.
So they pick up a first down there on that third down, and the holding call by Greg Robinson ends up costing them not just a first down, but keeping this drive alive into Florida State territory.
Kenny Shaw, dangerous return man for the Noles, standing back on their 10-yard line. The punting game has been critical here tonight. Shaw with the fair catch inside the 10. At the 9-yard line, 11:35 left. Auburn 21, Florida State 10.
Visit WatchESPN.com or download the Watch ESPN app to watch ESPN live anytime, anywhere. Brought to you by Vizio.
So dangerous field position here for Jameis Winston, who has felt pressure from a tremendous rush by Auburn tonight. So Williams checks in as the power running back, and Auburn puts 4 defensive linemen ready to go, and it'll be Williams, and he's brought down at about the 13-yard line by Frost and McKenzie.
You've seen this defense, Brett, the entire game. This is brought to you by Discover Card, this game changer. It's been this Auburn defense. D. Ford's come up with a big sack. The way they've mixed it up, a great job of pressuring Jameis Winston, the coverage downfield. They have this offense, I think, confused, and they have from the very beginning until the end of the first half where they came up with that drive to score.
Freeman is now the running back in pass protection, and it's Green who sat down underneath for the first down at the 25-yard line. Ryan Smith with the stop.
More pressure, more blitzing from those linebackers. This time he sits in there, faces that pressure, makes the throw. You know, Rashad Green is the only Florida State receiver right now with reception for positive yards. Benjamin doesn't have a catch. Shaw has a catch, but it's for negative yards. So Green's the only one making plays so far.
Here comes Freeman, but there was a penalty flag on the play.
Ball start. Offense number 1. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
So Winston came into the game 68% completion percentage. Tonight, he's 7 of 17 for 73 yards. Nick Marshall on the other sideline is 9 of 17 for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. And there you can see that Winston is unable to have a passing game that has done much against Auburn.
And I think that's has a direct correlation to do with the offensive line struggling up front. They've got to go to running game and quick throws to get the ball out of hands quick.
Auburn rushes 4 again. It's complete, and that is Benjamin's first reception of the night. So that came here with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. Mincy with the stop. He's been all over Benjamin.
Yeah, there's again, pretty good coverage there. The linebacker that time, Frost, sinks in coverage instead of blitzing, which they've done so much of. But Benjamin recognizes that, gets away from Frost, and sits in that soft spot in the zone. But there was a quick throw. Gives Winston, that way he doesn't sit back there and have to think and work and wait for plays to develop. Get the ball out of his hands quicker.
On second down, complete And that is Rashad Green, and he picks up a big first down.
Yeah, that's what they did well at the end of the first half, where they started to get the ball out to Green a lot quicker. And here it is again. He's taking it. He's making a read there in the flat defender. You see his eyes there, making the read, not predetermining. In fact, a pump fake, he thought he might go, gets the ball out of his hands much quicker these last 2 throws. I think between that, mixing in some running game, that's the answer for what they need to do to try to establish some rhythm.
Abram and O'Leary check in.
Charge timeout, Florida State. They're first. A full media timeout.
So at 9:18. And Jimbo not too happy as they come over to the sideline. 21-10. Auburn leading them.
The 2014 Vizio BCS National Championship is brought to you by the ultra-intuitive M-Series Smart TV from Vizio. It's beautifully simple. Mazda. Conviction, creativity, and courage. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive? Gatorade. When you put in the hard work, you can win from within. And Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Maz.
BCS photos from 2007 through 2010. Tim Tebow with the Florida Gators. They're part of this run by the SEC as you look down on our scene. And Charles Barkley is an Auburn basketball star back in the early 80s. On hand, and if I know Sir Charles, he stopped off on Vegas on the way. Oh, it's first down and 10. Winston keeps it out to the 44-yard line with Chris Frost and McKenzie.
Well, I thought he might throw the ball out in front to Benjamin to pick up some yards, but this is another view of what Auburn's been doing by disguising their pressures. They came in with a game plan to come after Jameis Winston. Here they bring one more than Florida State can handle. He can't step into the throw. It's an errant pass. They've done such a good job of disrupting the rhythm and flow up to this point of the Florida State offense and of Jameis Winston.
Second down and 2. Abram gets the carry. And he bangs ahead for the first down. Powerfully built fullback, usually pass protection, but McKenzie forced to make that stop, and the chains move. And the Noles here, midway through the third quarter, starting to move the ball. Have you noticed, folks, that Jameis Winston no longer squints when he's looking off into the sideline like he did early on this season against especially Clemson and Miami?
Tight coverage from these corners now from Auburn.
Going to put it up on first down. Benjamin reaches and makes the grab against Mincy. Benjamin's best grab of the night, and the ball is going to be spotted at the 29.
Winston held that football as long as he could, trying to get separation from the big fella. He actually tried to look the safety in the middle of the field, Ryan Smith, off by looking right, to be able to give him a little bit more room to throw the ball, but the much bigger Benjamin at 6'5" goes down and makes the play against Mincy.
So it's 24 yards on that play, and Benjamin starting to get involved in the Nole attack. Come with the toss play, Devontae Freeman, tough runner.
Benjamin is a guy that they felt coming in. They got him one-on-one with his size. He can make a play. Mincy forces him to the inside. Pretty good coverage. It's just the ball is thrown away from Mincy, where the big fella can go down and make a catch. He's improved so much this year as a route runner, just being more committed as a wide receiver, becoming a more complete receiver.
Christian Green now on the field as one of the receivers for Florida State. Winston, incomplete. Green, the intended target, and Davis. Davis and Mincy, even though they're not large on the corner, they got some talent, folks.
Well, they've done such a great job the entire ball game, Brandon. The other thing you have to think about is Ryan Smith, Jermaine Whitehead. You have Tharizi. These safeties have played well. They have done. It's easy to look at the pressure and the blitzing, but they have been all over these Noles receivers.
Auburn shows pressure, but rushes only 4. Winston going to take off. He had a big run leading to a touchdown. And he is short of the first down. Well short of it. Chris Frost, who's done a fine job at that linebacking spot, battled cramps a little bit earlier in this game. He makes a stop. So here comes the 4th down coming up.
Well, Winston has speed, but he doesn't have quickness. And out in the open field against this Auburn defense, the way they're chasing the football down, he didn't have much of a chance at all to be able to get away from Chris Frost.
Roberto Aguayo. "41-yard attempt from the right hash." What a weapon. 3 points closer. Very manageable right now. And the heat starting to shift over on the Auburn offense. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Game changes superior performance when it counts. Goodyear, more driven. So after the field goal by Florida State, they will kick it off. And back deep is Trey Mason along with Bray. So Davis and Mason have both been used back there as the return man. Short, high kickoff. They want the pooch. Fumble! And recovered by Auburn at the 27-yard line. Jay Proche fell on it after it slipped through his hands.
Remember, Chris Davis bobbled a punt, and he was able to get the football back. And now this time it goes right through the arms of Jay Proche, and he's able to jump on top of that. So as good as Auburn has been in special teams, especially with their own punter, Stephen Clark, they've come close to having a few miscues, but Proche jumps back on top of that.
Mason moves over, gets the handoff, and that puts him over 100 yards for this game. So Trey Mason, who rushed for better than 300 yards against Missouri, is up over 100 against Florida State here tonight.
More changes from the sideline from Gus Malzahn, changing things. Nick Marshall runs off of the field.
So that means that they will go to their version of the Wildcat here, and they will use Artis Payne. He'll take the direct snap. Bring motion through. Artis Payne right straight ahead. And stopped by the middle, Timmy Jernigan. One of the best defensive linemen in the country, big number 8. He just swallowed that play when it was coming in.
Yeah, does a good job using his hands and getting off the block. But you know, Brett, when you move Nick Marshall off the field and you bring in Artis Payne, who's a backup running back, you're somewhat limited in what you can do. It's either he's gonna hand it off to Corey Grant coming around on the jet sweep, or run the power play. The Noles clearly understood that when 44 is back there in the Wildcat, one of two things was coming, and they were ready for it.
Marshall back on the field for this third down. Faking it. Slips it to the outside as an incomplete pass. It'll be 4th down, and Auburn will punt it away. And slowly but surely, the Noles are reaching out and starting to take charge here.
You talked about Nick Marshall being a point guard. This almost has a feel of kind of a point guard look. And faking a jet sweep, kind of a no-look dump off there to Grant, but obviously did not work. Much better coverage and pressure that time in that series from Florida State.
Jernigan with that big play in the middle on the Wildcat. Shaw's back deep. Fair catch at the 19-yard line. We're going to take a break here at the 4:32 mark. So the Noles of Florida State came in averaging better than 50 points a game. They've been slowed down so far. We're back at the Rose Bowl, Pasadena, California. The BCS National Championship between Florida State, #1, and Auburn, #2. But #2 leads right now. 21-13. Jameis Winston and the Noles come to the line of scrimmage. Ball on their own 19-yard line. Freeman is the running back. Gets the call, and he picks his way out to about the 23-yard line before Swain makes the stop.
Noles are not used to trailing. In fact, the entire season for 13 games, a little over 38 minutes. That's all they've trailed tonight. We're closing in on 30 minutes. Remember, the quick pass game helped Jameis Winston a lot in the last series to let them dig themselves out of bad position there when they started inside their own 10-yard line.
Second down snap to Winston. Dropped. Benjamin dropped it. Would have been a first down for the Noles, and now that'll bring up a third down, and Auburn substitutes 5 defensive players.
Yeah, man-to-man, and that's a matchup we've seen here in the second half. Boy, that's a good throw, and that's a ball that Benjamin's got to be able to come up with there on second down. Got the separation, the throw's on the money, he just dropped it.
Auburn shows a 4-man rush. They have blitzed off that look a couple of times tonight.
There's Frost.
In trouble. And that is big number 30, D. Ford, the senior from Odenville, Alabama. That's his second sack of the game.
Well, he's been doing this all year for this Auburn defense. It's his second sack of the night. He has 10.5 on the year. What a great move back to the inside. Watch this move back to the inside. He's able to penetrate, gets inside of Bobby Hart, the right tackle, with such suddenness and quickness. He surprised him.
It is interesting. When we were down there talking to him, Ford was playing the piano. And I mean, he plays a mean piano.
No doubt.
You don't think about a defensive end sitting down at the Ivory.
It's so well spoken.
Oh, wonderful. He's fun.
Yeah.
Now, Davis is back deep. No, he screwed up. No question. Auburn,
it's the third.
Kind of like he was waiting to see whether or not he was going to signal for a fair catch. Instead of getting completely away from it, and he reaches there. So we've had several loose balls here, Herbie.
And Patrick Lyman, 41, ends up getting on the football. But I'll tell you what, Brent, that's the third time in a row that Auburn is flirting with disaster here with the football. 2 on a punt. And then also we had one on a kickoff return. This is Chris Davis's second blunder. He got really lucky that Lyman had a heads-up play there to come back to the football, because Telvin Smith is all over the ball, and there's another Nole diving in there to come up with it.
Now, Malzahn needs a couple of first downs to keep his defense off the field here. Marshall will keep it, attack the outside. Breaks a tackle, still going, and out of bounds at the 45-yard line. What a brilliant run by the athletic one who started his college career at Georgia as a defensive back.
And they motion Ricardo Lewis to get him out in front, to give him a lead blocker. Lewis does a good job of helping him, but he's making people miss out there too.
And Jernigan stood him up in the hole. Look at number 8. The big man getting up, saying, not on me this time.
Yeah, Jernigan, one of the best in the country. Energy, has his hands up there, is able to separate. That's what he did there. He, Mario Edwards, and also Eddie Goldman have got to hold their point up front for the defensive line of this Noles defense.
Second down and 12 for Marshall and the Tigers. Quick pitch to Bray on the outside, and he is down at the 45. And Joyner. So we've got Jernigan and Joyner, 2 great players, put back-to-back defensive stops up here.
You got to tackle in space against this attack, and he almost came up with a horse collar there, but he's able to avoid it. You got to be able to make plays against these receivers and running backs, and even Nick Marshall. When they get out there, they're trying to find a matchup that they like. That time, the captain and the leader of this defense makes a huge play to set up this third down and long.
There's a familiar chant from down Tallahassee way. Marshall fires, grabbed, and then dropped. Terrence Brooks got on the receiver quickly that time.
What a great effort by Brooks. I thought Melvin Ray might come down with a football. The ball's thrown behind Brooks, but Brooks never gave up on trying to disrupt Ray. Look at his arms, his hands, doing everything he can to get Ray away from that football. And because of that effort, that's what ended up separating Ray from the football. Tremendous play by the senior.
So Auburn has been slowed here in the second half considerably. We've only got a minute left, and they're finding it going tough right now. Clark hangs one up, and Shaw wants to get out of the way. It's the ball, remember, not the man. It's been down inside the 5-yard line again, and that is Trent Fisher, folks. That is Jeff Fisher's son, number 31, who was down there on this. The fine coach.
Yeah, a great effort by Jonathan Jones there to knock it back for Fisher to jump on top of it. But you're right, Brent, it's the football. You got to keep a close eye on that ball. That's about as close as you can get. Heads up play by Jones. This is the 6th time they've started inside their own 20-yard line for this Florida State offense.
So again, remember when he backed one up in the first half? Now they down it. And they'll come out for the 4, and James Wilder is the running back for Winston. Out of the end zone, complete to Rashad Green, who was working the sideline, and he is out of bounds at about the 11-yard line. And that looked to me like Mr. Corso was spotting the ball down there, folks.
That's a nice read because Nick O'Leary's on the inside. Chris Davis sinks to the inside. See how he sinks back into 35? That opened it up back to the outside. And you're right, Lee Corso right there trying to spot the ball, trying to help his nose out.
Florida State alum down there. He probably whistled in a couple of plays. There's a handoff now to Wilder. Wilder breaks the daylight. Big first down at the 29-yard line.
Watch the double team by the center and the right guard. Watch how they open this up, and it's a heck of a cutback here, being able to get it back behind the double team. The linebackers flowed, the double team from the right guard that time. Jackson along with Brian Stork, and that's the first real sign of positive yards into the teeth of that Auburn defense on the ground we've seen all night.
That's because this defense has every reason to be tired. The offense has not kept the defense off the field here. Oh, mercy. Oh, McKenzie, let one get away.
Well, he doesn't have his feet settled. He's at a little bit of a play-action fake, a zone read look to Wilder. Now watch how he never gets his feet settled. He's moving around in that pocket and just tries to flip the ball out to Kenny Shaw, who is open behind the coverage. But again, I don't care how good you are and how powerful you are, if you don't have your mechanics as a quarterback and you just kind of flip it out there, the ball's not going to be on the money. And that time, McKenzie almost comes up with that interception.
Second down and 10. Wilder again to the 31-yard line, upended by Smith.
The story tomorrow, if Auburn ends up winning this game, will not just be about their offense and Gus Malzahn. Everybody has got to be appreciating what Auburn's doing on defense. They are attacking. For 3 quarters, they've been in attack mode against Jameis Winston.
Auburn said, we want Florida State in the 4th quarter. They've got them. Into the 3rd quarter, back up to these messages. You're watching the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. You are looking live at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. It's the 4th quarter of the final BCS game of this era. And the underdog Auburn Tigers are leading Florida State 21-13. But in that 3rd quarter, Florida State outgained Auburn 96-45 yards. The Noles have the ball again, facing a big 3rd and 7. And the clock getting established here on the field.
Remember, Auburn has brought a lot of pressure on Winston on 3rd down situations.
They show pressure.
They're manned up right now on those wide receivers.
Rushing 4 on Winston. Fires. Incomplete. Florida State is forced to punt, and Ryan Smith, the safety, did a fine job on that play.
Brent, he's kind of just sitting there in a robber, looking on the inside and waiting for a receiver to break. You see his head's on a swivel. He's waiting for that throw right to the first down marker. They've got leverage on the outside to take that part of away with one defender in Mincy, the corner, and then Ryan Smith is waiting there for the ball to come back to the middle and is able to separate the ball. Nice play.
Chris Davis will go back deep. Beatty is the punter. Jason Beatty from Charlotte, North Carolina. Line drive punt. And a good one. It drove Davis back to the 50, but it's returnable. And he is out to the 26-yard line. And so that's where Auburn will put it in play.
Auburn fans got to be saying, at least he caught it. That was, he dropped the last two. He caught that one.
Welcome back to the Vizio BCS National Championship on ESPN. So we are back with 14:45 to go. Florida State kicked the first field goal, but ever since then, when Auburn scored its first touchdown, they've been behind. Here comes Mason, trying to swing left. Good-looking runner out to the 33-yard line, so it's second and short. Christian Jones with the stop for the Noles.
Such a big play here to start this fourth quarter as far as the possession for Auburn, just to get such positive yardage on 1st and 10. That affects this kind of the rhythm of what they're trying to do. And, of course, when they get that first down of any drive, that's when they really start to go with the tempo and get up to the line of scrimmage quickly.
Mason again busts it to the 40 and a first down.
And remember, Brent, what not just getting Florida State to the fourth quarter, but it's all about this tempo and wearing down defenses. You want to pull them into the fourth quarter, and that's when you can start to have your way with them, start to affect their mind, making some mental errors because of fatigue. That's what Auburn's always been able to do in the fourth quarter.
The jet sweep, Bray in trouble. Knowles ready for that end-around look right there. And let me check that. Ricardo Lewis was coming around. They had been lining up Bray, but this is Ricardo Lewis, number 5.
And a blitz here from the right. This is the corner coming. He's actually able to get through the fullback that time, Krosh. They brought the corner blitz. They've been doing that from the boundary, the short side. They brought P.J. Williams. He turned it back to the inside and allowed the rest of the defense with Terrence Smith leading the way to get there.
Artis Payne checks in as a running back for Auburn. Play fake to him. Far side, intercepted at the 45-yard line. The 26th interception of the year. This one by P.J. Williams. Huge in this game.
Well, P.J. Williams, we just talked about how he's been blitzing, and this time, this is a poor decision by Nick Marshall to throw this football. Kind of nonchalants it, just throws it up into coverage. I think you underestimated Williams dropping. You have Jalen Ramsey coming over there to make a big play. That was well covered, and he forced the football. One of the few mistakes Marshall's made this whole game.
There was a fumble on that. And Joyner, I'll watch Joyner, folks. He saves the day by picking it up. And then the ball was actually had come free. And you can see that Knoll fans, that's in Tallahassee right now. They're celebrating.
And there's an Auburn player down on the far sideline. That ball was up in the air. Joyner and Telvin Smith both right there to jump on top of it. Joyner comes up with it. It's the best field position Florida State's had in a long time for Jameis Winston to start this drive.
Sammy Coates was shaken up. He's fine now. So Winston from the 44-yard line after the interception. But give Joyner a big assist on recovering that loose ball. Winston on first down. High, but it is caught by Freeman. He's got about 7 yards.
All we heard about leading up to this game is if Auburn did get into the fourth quarter, because it's something that Florida State hasn't had to deal with, what a big advantage it would be for Auburn. But I think it's unfair to Florida State to say because they haven't been there, they're not able to execute and win in these kind of situations. We'll see how they end up playing this out here in the fourth quarter.
Second down and 2, and Freeman hammers a big hole to the 31-yard line. First down, Florida State. Chris Davis forced to come make another tackle.
Watch 51 Hart climb up to that second level. You have both the right guard, Trey Jackson, and Bobby Hart. Jackson sealed that front initial surge by the defensive line by Gabe Wright, and then it was the right tackle's block, Bobby Hart, that sprung him free.
First down and 10 for the Noles. They bring Freeman again, and he's wrestled back by McKenzie.
We talked about one of the adjustments we might see from Jimbo Fisher coming out to start the second half was more of the running game and more of the quick throws. He realizes that Ellis Johnson's doing a good job of pressuring his quarterback and winning the battle at the line of scrimmage. The adjustment so far has been working. Now we'll see if they can capitalize and put the ball into the end zone.
Second down and 10. High, but Benjamin's there. First down at the 11-yard line. Whitehead makes the stop on the 6'6" Kelvin Benjamin.
This time he holds on to the football. They actually jump back into a zone coverage, and Benjamin does a good job of being able to sit up and go into the air to make that play. And how about the throw by Jameis Winston? He stepped right into that, put the ball where only his man could make a play on it, and the big receiver goes up and makes the play.
Abram checks in. Freeman is there on first down. Winston going to put it up. Lays it off to Abram. Running for the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. They are 2 points away from a tie.
You had Rashad Green cutting to the inside. It opened up Abram. Nobody picked him up to the outside. Ryan Smith is over there late, and he gets into the end zone.
There's a penalty flag. It's over on the left hash, so there's a penalty.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 8 on the offense. 15 yards on the try.
Wow.
So that is Freeman.
And that's huge, Brent, because the way the scoring has been going, I'm sure Jimbo Fisher's thinking about going for 2 to tie this football game up. You're talking about moving it now 15 yards back on the try. Now you really wonder, you're at the 18-yard line. I mean, you seriously considering going for 2 from the 18-yard line to try to tie this game? What a blunder. A mistake here from Freeman. Yeah, it doesn't matter whether you're down by 2 or down by 1. You've got to go for 2 here. Points that have been tough to come by. But being pushed back 15 yards makes it a lot tougher, and they're going to kick the extra point. He's frustrated with Devontae Freeman.
So Roberto Aguayo will attempt the extra point. So it's a 1-point game. It's 21-20, but remember what set it up. It was this interception, but watch the end of it. Williams up in the air. Put it on the ground, recovered by Joyner, and then Abram for the touchdown. And it's a 1-point game.
The 2014 Vizio BCS National Championship is brought to you by Ford. Go further. Coke Zero. With real Coke taste and zero compromise, Coke Zero lets you enjoy everything. The new Surface. Follow at ESPN CFB for all bowl instant replays. And the Discover It card. It's a game changer.
Well, the BCS photos from the last few years. Alabama winning 3 of 4. Now, Devontae Freeman called for that unsportsmanlike penalty. We're going to show you, and it was a very good call. But here's the headline. Florida State has scored the last 17 points of this game. to pull within 1. And now the heat clearly on Auburn. And Quan Bray takes a knee. Now let's take a look at what happened on the touchdown.
First, we're going to show you green going here. Here's Abram that comes out. And this guy right here, the safety, Ryan Smith, is late in getting out there and dropping. See the man coverage to the bottom, takes it away. And Abram showing some quickness for a big fullback. Now, up here is what you want to watch. This is where the penalty is, and this is the official that actually sees it. He taunts the Auburn sideline, looks over at him. I don't know if it's a gesture or he's just kind of signaling out the Auburn sideline. The official saw it, and it cost Florida State 15 yards and a chance to go for 2 to try to tie this game.
Good call by this Big Ten officiating crew. Marshall keeps it. Remember, he threw that costly interception. And he picks up a couple yards, and again, it's Jernigan, big number 8.
Yeah, the big fella is having his way. You know, he has the vision and instincts of a linebacker playing defensive line. The way he's moving around in there, Eddie Goldman, Mario Edwards, those 3 in the inside have played very, very well for this Noles defense.
Now it is Grant, who is the running back. Marshall throws it far side, got a man open. And that is Ricardo Lewis, number 5, knocked out of bounds, and that's a big first down.
And they brought 2 safeties, Joyner and also Terrence Brooks, and it left a corner Darby out there all by himself, and I don't think he realized Lewis was sneaking behind him, and he didn't have any help back there in coverage because of safety blitz.
Mason is back in as the running back, and this play was stopped.
The umpire was still standing over the ball.
The ball's not ready for play.
And the umpire's standing over the ball. And did Lewis have that catch towards the end? It looked like he was bobbling it towards the sideline to make sure he had possession of that football all the way through. Looks like he was good there.
Maybe he had it.
Yeah. But the umpire standing over the ball, and Gus Malzahn's guys are saying, let's go. Let's go.
First down. They come with Mason into the heart of that defense. Telvin Smith, number 22, up with another stop.
Telvin Smith, and we also have a safety, Nate Andrews, 29, into the game. See how tough it is to pick up yards this second half for this Auburn offense into the middle. I think we've seen Trey Mason pop one for a few yards, but other than that, they've really done a good job of keeping him in check in the interior. Get confirmation from Gus Malzahn looking over to the sideline based on the coverage that he's seeing.
They give it to Mason on a delay. Big hole on the left side. And he's up over 125 yards on this game and across the 25-yard line. And again, Telvin Smith from Valdosta, Georgia, forced to make the stop.
Boy, Nick Marshall carrying out his fakes. It gets those linebackers out of position and they pick up blocks.
And they're hammering now with Mason. I can't say enough about Reese Dismukes, Chad Slade, and Alex Kozan. They've been battling against those defensive tackles all game long.
That is a
good-looking middle of an offensive line.
Exciting thing is you've got a freshman in Kozan, and Dismukes is a junior, and Slade a junior as well.
Jernigan not on the field right now. Second down. Marshall keeps it. 30, 25, and out of bounds across the 25-yard line.
You run the football to the interior, and then you know it's coming. The quarterback pulls it, gets the ball to the outside with that quickness, and there's Timmy Jernigan. There's the tempo. Remember the fourth quarter, how they want to wear you down? There's the result of it right there. Their best defensive lineman is on the sideline trying to catch his breath.
So Marshall moved the chains with that run. And now they come back with the hammer. The coaches are very well aware that Jernigan is not in the middle of that line. And they have found it much easier going down there against the Noles backup. Florida State badly needs number 8 back out there in the middle of that defense. It's second down and 7. No number 8. He's still kneeling down on the sideline. Get him to the fourth quarter. That's where we want him. hammering away with Mason again. One thing about Gus Malzahn, when you study him, if he finds something's working, he's coming back time after time after time. You stop it, and then I'll go someplace else.
And right now, with the best defensive lineman out, still trying to catch his breath, that's where they've been trying to attack. And, you know, Gus Malzahn right now, he's trying to make sure they're getting on the same page, making some adjustments, bringing in another big offensive lineman here to give him a big tackle.
What a story that is, too, Herbie. That's Coleman, who battled leukemia, number 72. Coming right back. They've got to get Jernigan back on the field.
Yeah, the problem is he's gassed. You know, he's 30 days of a layoff, trying to get into shape throughout those 30 days. You knew that the tempo was coming. You knew you had to try to rotate bodies in to try to stay fresh. And this is part of what Auburn tries to do, not just to Tim Jernigan, not just in this game, but it's in the DNA of this offensive system.
Bringing the clock down. Inside of 6:30 right now. They've got a first down. They could get another first down without scoring a touchdown. Let's see if they continue to hammer that soft middle. Here he comes. And we'll cross the 10-yard line now. Not much there for a couple of yards.
See, what happens when you have a weakness like this and they keep exploiting it, what happens is the linebackers and the safeties start to forget about their keys, and they start to come down to help out. And when you start to come down and help out, Gus Malzahn on the sideline, Rhett Lastly on the sideline, they recognize that, and that's where they're going to see a play action, or you're going to see Nick Marshall try to bait you with a good hard fake and then get around the corner. Do not be surprised to see play action or Marshall with a run.
Eddie Goldman, number 90, does check back into that defensive front right now. Marshall keeps it, steps outside, and he is thrown down by P.J. Williams. Nice tackle on the quarterback.
You knew it was coming. I mean, he's going to pull it out. You start to get lulled to sleep with the interior. It opens up so many different aspects of this offense and the play calling from Gus Malzahn. This is a big third down, deep in Florida State territory. The Noles are thinking, hold them to a field goal, get the ball back to Jameis Winston with 5 minutes to go, and let's go down and score a touchdown and win it. They do not want to give up a touchdown here.
Grant and Mason both on the field for Auburn. Under center. Rolling to the right. Marshall fires, incomplete high. Coach was coming across. He was the intended target.
Yeah.
Marshall threw it high.
He throws the ball well on the run, but here he's running so hard to get outside. It's tough for him to get his body and shoulders turned to give him an accurate throw. He had Sammy Coates. If he's able to turn his body towards the throw or towards the receiver and put it down low, Coates comes up with a touchdown there, but the ball sailed on him because all his momentum was going towards the sideline.
So Cody Parkey, remember he missed one back in the first half. This is a 23-yarder. Through. And it is now a 4-point lead.
That's a win for the Noles to give Jameis Winston a shot to win this game.
With 4:42 to go. Well, as we look at tonight's All-State Good Hands play, there's actually two players involved. Williams skies for the interception. But watch what happens, and watch for number 20, Joyner, to come over. A save. And now 4:42 remaining. And as you said, Herbie, going to break. Jameis Winston has a chance. Whitfield and Williams are back deep. Whitfield's coming out. Great return man. 30, 40, daylight. Green ahead. Got it. Headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. A 100-yard return. And Auburn is stung by its own medicine. Kermit Whitfield a freshman from Orlando, Florida, has just put Florida State ahead with 4:31 remaining. McGuire tacks on the extra point. Perfect snap from Philip Dumar to Kason Beatty.
Brett, I tell you, Auburn players, one guy pulled a hamstring. One guy pulled a hamstring and pulled up. That was Dominique Walker, or maybe it was Jonathan Jones. You had another guy get out of his lane. It was a tight end that looked like he got out of his lane. Norberg, there's a couple good blocks by Carlos Williams and Chad Abram, but you had an Auburn player, it looked like had a cramp to his hamstring and collapsed, which opened up that side of the return. Whitfield happened to just be going there. Jimbo's trying to race into the end zone and go. But Brett, one guy gets out of his lane. Joseph ends up having a cramp to his hamstring. That entire right side, there's only a couple guys left on that side, and they were both blocked.
Herbie, Jimbo had his hands full because if you go to the ESPN database and you dial up the 40-yard dash time of the incoming freshman, this year's freshman class, Kermit Whitfield ran a 4.3740. That was the fastest recorded of any freshman in college football this year. And you just saw him turn on the afterburners and put the Noles up with 4:30 to go. Bray and Davis are back deep for Auburn. Whitfield, his second kickoff return touchdown this season, has boosted the Noles into their first lead since the opening quarter.
Now let's go back to the return. I talked about Kenny Flowers, 33, who's right here. He gets out of his lane, and watch number 3 right here. The defensive back, Jones, all of a sudden he gets a cramp in his left hamstring or something. Maybe he pulled a hamstring. He goes down. You see the 33 gets in out of position towards the middle, and it's just 2 blocks. Abram picked up a block. Carlos Williams picked up a block. You talked about the speed of Whitfield, but a couple mistakes there. Well, one guy had an injury. The other guy moves to the inside. Boy, it opened it up on the left side for the Noles in that big return.
Big Timmy Jernigan back on the field for Florida State.
See how long he can hold up here on a pivotal drive.
First down from the 25-yard line. Marshall. Edwards had him, slowed him up, and then finally wrestles him down out of bounds. Mario Edwards having a big-time game.
And Jeremy Pruitt wanted to maintain an aggressive attitude. What a great play by a 280-pound defensive lineman. Out in space against Nick Marshall, a former point guard, a dynamic athlete, and the big fella holds his own, makes the play in space, and chases him out of bounds and lands on top of him out of bounds.
Second down and 12. Mason, he's cut off. Christian Jones had him cut off.
That's probably the best 2 plays the Noles have played tonight, back-to-back, for the whole game. They tried one side with Edwards. They come back the other way. And how about the play in space that time as well? This time it's Jones. They are maintaining that aggressive approach that Jeremy Pruitt wanted them to have at the most important time of this football game.
Third down and 11. Straight back. Marshall on the move, fires, and it was complete for a first down at the 39-yard line to Sammy Coates.
What a play to come up with on third down. The Noles rushed 4, and they had everybody else in coverage. He had to wait for Coates to come clear against Williams, and he makes the throw.
Now they hammer with Mason, who twists away. Mason finally thrown out of bounds at the 46, and that was Jalen Ramsey.
For this third down, it's man-to-man. He does such a good job of keeping this play alive with the athletic ability, but how about the throw low and away from P.J. Williams where Coates can make that play?
Jernigan is down, just as you pointed out. How long can he go?
Yeah, he's doing everything he can. Those defensive linemen just get challenged so much. You can ask Nick Saban in Alabama. You can talk to Texas A&M. You can talk to Missouri. Talk to anybody that they went up against. That's the big challenge, is trying to get the big guys to hold up in the fourth quarter.
We'll take a break and come right back. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Game-changing superior performance when it counts. Goodyear, more driven. We're Kirk Herbstreit, Brent Musburger. We come down to the final BCS game, and it's on the line with 2:50 to go. Jernigan off to the side. We don't know if he'll be able to return. Second down and short. Marshall checking the Malzahn sideline. Mason hammers right straight ahead for the first down. They cross midfield.
You've got 2:31 to go in the game, 3 timeouts, an up-tempo offense. They're not in any rush at all. They have confidence that they can move not only in field goal range. You and I were talking at the break. Gus Malzahn's thinking about getting the ball into the end zone and scoring a touchdown. They keep going up the middle to set up other aspects of this offense.
Play action. Fires wide open. Complete to Coates at the 33-yard line.
Get these linebackers out of position. They're so reliant upon coming up against the run game. We just said how they're setting up other aspects. There's the play action behind the linebackers coming up to defend that inside run game.
Marshall keeps it, but Joyner was coming, and Joyner able to hold him up and take him down. Huge sack by the defensive back.
And Joyner looked like he was going to go down towards Trey Mason. At the last second, he comes off of it. He sees the ball in the hands of the quarterback. So he wasn't as if he was just going at Nick Marshall. He, in fact, is coming down on Mason, but his instincts and quickness allowed him to come off of Mason and jump back out to Nick Marshall. That's a heck of a play by the senior defensive back.
And it's a 2nd and 16 after the 6-yard loss. Mason steps outside right, breaks the daylight. Still going. End zone. Touchdown, Auburn. Not quite yet out of miracles. Heck of a run by Trey Mason. He now has 195 yards in this game. And here is Cody Parkey. 1:19 remaining. And Florida State needs a touchdown.
Brent, you know, you've been talking about these guards. How about the block right here by Chad Slade, who's going to get up to Telvin Smith, but also you're going to see the tight end who's out here, Uzama, who's going to come up with a big block right here on LaMarcus Joyner. There's the action. Look at the block by the tight end. Nice job by the guard. And then right here is just leg drive and determination. That's a true freshman. Jalen Ramsey coming up in run support. And you've got Trey Mason running right through his arm tackle, bounces off him and into the end zone. That low center of gravity, the balance that he has, the toughness that he runs with, you better come up with some cruel intentions if you want to knock Trey Mason off the tracks. And that time Jalen Ramsey was not ready.
Coach is on the sideline. That young man who just scored, by the way, is the son of Vincent Mason, who was in a hip-hop band called De La Soul. And back in 1989, Herbie remembers this one. Oh, Me, Myself, and I.
Beautiful.
Well, it was Me, Myself, and Trey.
We start with Eminem, and we finish with Me, Myself, and I.
Coming up after the game, stay tuned for the Ford BCS postgame show. 1:19 left for the Heisman Trophy winner.
Still has 2 timeouts remaining. You work on this. In fact, Brent, I don't know if you and I have ever seen a more competitive 2-minute drill than the ones against the ones in Tallahassee. When Winston goes up against Telvin Smith and LaMarcus Joyner on a Friday practice, it's fun to watch. And all that work they put in is now going to see if it benefits all the opportunities they've had to try to compete against each other.
Here's Gus's message. Don't kick it to Whitfield. There you see the coach's trophy presented by Dr. Pepper, which will be awarded to the winner of tonight's Vizio BCS National Championship. And what a dandy this has been. In fact, all 5 of the BCS games. When you go back now, it all began right here on this field. Michigan State upsetting Stanford. Then how about Central Florida down in the desert taking out Baylor? Then we switched over to New Orleans, and Oklahoma upset Alabama. And down to Miami, and Clemson stopped Ohio State. And now tonight, another underdog, and a double-digit underdog at that. Auburn leading by 4 with 1:19 to go.
Speaking of underdogs, you go back to the 06 National Championship with Vince Young and USC. The Longhorns were underdogs. They were down 5 with 2:09 to go in that game in this stadium when Vince Young took them down and into the end zone to win the game for the Horns.
Swung it around the right side, as I recall. Well, there's the kickoff. And it's from the 2-yard line. And this time, the young man is not going 100 yards. And they stone him there at about the 19-yard line. And that was Craig Sanders, number 13, who got down and made that stop on Whitfield.
You know, last series, we thought this is an opportunity for the Heisman Trophy winner to show that he has the goods, add on to his legacy at Florida State. Well, Whitfield had the return to give the Noles the lead. Well, now he gets the ball back with a couple timeouts, a little over a minute to go. Let's see what he can do.
Christian Green is one of the 4 wide receivers. Benjamin, Rashad Green, and Shaw. Winston goes to work underneath with Green, and Green takes it out of bounds to stop the clock at the 27-yard line. That was Ryan White with coverage.
Boy, he is great underneath coverage against defenses. He's been doing it all year. Jameis Winston right now is facing a defense and 2 defensive ends, and Carl Lawson, a freshman on one side, D Ford with 2 sacks already. They literally have their ears pinned. So he's got to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and they've got to pick up first downs to get out of bounds to stop this clock.
You get about 7 seconds after a first down before it's reset. And Green breaks free. 50, 45. One man with an angle. Got him out of bounds at the 20-yard line.
Boy, it sure looked like a horse collar there at the end that I thought they may add on to it. How about Green again, Brent? Underneath. Splits the 2 defenders, Ryan Smith and Chris Davis, and then the speed at the end. That's a horse collar for sure that they missed towards the end of that play.
49 yards on that play.
That's what the crowd's reacting to on the replay.
The official was forced to step away from the oncoming receiver. He did not have the angle or the look at that horse collar. Now Winston going to drop it off Freeman, and he is down to the 17-yard line, and Chris Frost making another stop. We got 46 seconds. Florida State with 2 timeouts.
Jimbo uses one right there, Brent.
So they're down to their last timeout. They must have a touchdown, obviously.
You know, Rashad Green, Jameis Winston told me this week the receiver that he trusts the most is Rashad Green. Benjamin gets a lot of attention, but Green is always in the right spot at the right time. He actually said he took him under his wing this summer, ran routes with him when none of the other receivers wanted to. Green has always been his guy, kind of a mentor for him from the wide receiver group, and how fitting. In this game, this biggest stage, it's Green that's been able to step up, not just on that play, but tonight. 9 receptions, 147 yards. He's been his man tonight for sure.
So the Noles are headed toward the Vince Young end zone, where Texas won the national championship with Vince swinging to the outside against USC that night. 47 seconds remaining.
Remember, Benjamin, even though he's had a quiet night, if he's left alone at the top of your screen one-on-one, they're not afraid to take a chance and put it up in the air against Mincy, who's at 5'10".
Mincy backs off a little bit. Vince doesn't look there. Still coming underneath. And the tackle made at the 12-yard line.
First down will stop the clock.
Frost. And again, they'll get about 7 seconds.
Plenty of time with 43 seconds. Clock starts to move.
Here we go. Now it is first down and 10. Winston in the pocket. Fires. Incomplete. Green the target, and that one fell to the ground, so it'll be 2nd and 10. More importantly, 27 seconds.
He's holding on to the ball a little bit too long. He's holding on to the ball, and he's letting those defensive ends get to him. See how close they were? I think Jimbo Fisher would like to see him get the ball out of his hands. Get back, make a read, get the football out of your hands. Benjamin continues to be a threat up at the top. They also like Nick O'Leary, the tight end, who's off to the right here. Also one-on-one against a linebacker down here.
Carl Lawson, the talented 5-star freshman, is on the field in that defensive front, along with Ford. 2nd down and 10. Winston. He's got Freeman out of bounds. Chris Frost again getting sideline to sideline, and how active he's been here tonight.
Well-designed play. They run the receivers downfield, try to get a little bit of a pick or a rub against a linebacker who's man up against Freeman out of the backfield. I tell you, Frost has had a busy night. Very athletic to be able to run with Freeman like that in man-to-man coverage. Well-designed play, but defended pretty good there by Frost. Auburn's been great all year down in the red zone at keeping teams out of the end zone.
And Florida State's been lethal in scoring in the red zone.
That's right.
So that was stopped.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
So that will back it up to about the 10-yard line here.
But look at Stork kind of communicating, and Jameis behind him saying, come on, come on, come on, snap the ball, snap the ball.
Did not get it off in time.
Nope.
Kelvin Benjamin is down to the right side. Green goes up above, and Shaw will be the slot man.
Mincy's all alone at the bottom with Benjamin.
Mincy has trailed him all game long. Incomplete. And penalty flags are thrown as Chris Davis with coverage in the end zone, and the flags come immediately.
Pass interference, defense number 11. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
Brent, these defensive backs have played well in press coverage most of the night. He's got his left arm wrapped around him. There's no question it's the right call by the officials. It's tight coverage initially, and then he grabs onto him. It's a good call. And Florida State picks, Gus Malzahn was trying to get a timeout before the ball was even snapped there. He was running down the sideline trying to get the officials' attention.
From the 2-yard line with a timeout, you wonder if Jimbo would go ahead and run it. He's put Winston up under center. No, throw it. End zone, jump ball. Touchdown! You know who he went for, number 1. Kelvin Benjamin.
Brent, he comes off the play fake. Look how high he puts the ball in the air for the 6'5" receiver. That's a mismatch. Chris Davis is a good player. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. They know exactly where this ball is going. Benjamin comes to the inside. The ball is high. He's done that all year. He high points the ball with his soft hands. Perfectly thrown ball by Jameis Winston, and a go-ahead score for the Noles.
On that drive, folks, the Heisman Trophy winner, Jameis Winston, was 6 of 7. There's a penalty flag. 6 of 7 for 77 yards and the touchdown.
5-yard penalty, retry.
So the BCS era is coming to an end with one of its best championship games ever. What is it about the Rose Bowl? Texas, USC, and now Florida State and Auburn taking it down to the closing minute with the Noles pushing across the touchdown. Tacking on the extra point.
Brent, I thought you made a great observation about, hey, with a timeout, maybe run the football right away. They knew what they wanted to do by trying to get. We kept waiting for Benjamin. We kept waiting. They get down inside that 10-yard line. You know he's a factor, and this is why. They do such a great job of finding a matchup and putting it up there. And even if you know it's coming because of his size and because of where he puts it, it's very, very difficult to defend.
And as I look across the fabric of this Auburn Tiger football season, 13 seconds on the clock, I'm going to say the Tigers have got him right where they want him.
Yeah, Nick Marshall saying, just give me the ball. You never know. Yeah. One more tip pass ever maybe. We'll see.
Davis comes out. Chris Davis as one of the return man, along with Quan Bray. But they're up against one of the best legs in college football. The Lou Groza Award winner, Roberto Aguayo. And he's only a redshirt freshman. Davis is coming out. Down at the 16-yard line with 9 ticks of the clock left. Let's see how deep the safeties are against Gus Malzahn's play call here.
Remember Gus telling us a couple days ago on that play against Georgia that the ball went in the air because he thought there was a crossing route where he had to throw, and he ended up throwing it deep, and he said he actually turned away in frustration, thinking that it would not work out, and of course the tip ball ended up going into the hands of the receiver, Ricardo Lewis, for the touchdown.
Ricardo, of course, had said to the quarterback, throw it to me. And Coates was open on the dig, and the rest is history. Timmy Jernigan has come back in, and a timeout is going to be called. So now the defensive coordinator, Pruitt, and the offensive folks on the other side. You know, quarterback Damian Craig over there on that Auburn coaching staff. He works with the quarterbacks. He was actually recruited by Jimbo Fisher when Jimbo was the quarterback coach at Auburn. He was working for Terry Bowden, and he was a redshirt freshman when Auburn went 11-0. There he is. And Jimbo Fisher actually gave Damian Craig his first chance as a coach, graduate assistant at LSU, when Jimbo worked with Nick Saban, and then he hired him down in Tallahassee last year. And now here is Damian against Jimbo, coming down to his quarterback with 9 seconds.
Of course, very influential in getting Jameis Winston also to go to Florida State.
Marshall fires sideline and incomplete and out of bounds. And now 3 ticks left on what will go down as one of the most incredible seasons in the history of the SEC, regardless of whether or not they win tonight. We will always remember those moments with the Auburn Tigers, and they played their hearts out tonight against a heavily favored Florida State team. And the celebration is about to begin. Last play. Here comes the lateral. Hook and ladder. Give it back, throw it across the field, and let's see if Mason can take it down the sideline. Cuts to the middle. Florida State rules the BCS. A dramatic second half comeback by the Noles. Let's party, Tallahassee. Let's have some fun. And there is Damian Craig, who we were talking about, embracing Jameis Winston. As Herbie said, Damian, who played at Auburn, helped bring Winston south of the border, down Florida way. Two teams went toe-to-toe. Auburn got its wish. They got the Noles into the fourth quarter, but they couldn't stop them. A 100-yard kickoff return, and then the Heisman Trophy winner goes 6-7, 77 yards, and the winning toss to big Kelvin Benjamin.
Auburn and Gus Malzahn, Brent, deserve a lot of credit for the way they came into this game. Such heavy underdogs. Not a lot of people thinking that they could compete with the talented Florida State team. They played with an edge. They were well prepared on both sides of the ball at the end. You just got to give credit to Jimbo Fisher and the Noles. They kept their composure, and they won the second half. It's something new for them. They outscored Auburn 24-10 in the second half. We're used to seeing Auburn do that, but tonight it's Jameis Winston and Jimbo Fisher.
Let's go down to Heather Cox with the winning coach.
Coach, tonight you put an exclamation point on a perfect season. How would you describe the effort and energy it took to get to this moment?
I'm going to tell you something. I said this from day one at spring ball. These kids are special. This group never faltered. They wanted to be elite. They wanted to go to the top. And there is so much character in this group. I'd like to say a special thanks to our assistant coaches for preparing these guys like they did all year. Our players I'm so happy for, and our fans. But these kids are special.
Jimbo, what kind of strength and resilience did it take from this team, especially tonight when they were tested?
They were, and we shot ourselves in the foot, but that's what happens in big-time games. But I told our kids at the halftime, when we got that score before half, we're 2 plays out, we're right where you want to be. Things that are tough is what you remember. And then we got it down to a 1-score game. And all we had to do is do 2-minute like we do every Thursday, and we work on those drills. And our kids believed, they stayed true, they had composure in the game. Jameis grew up unbelievably tonight, struggled, but tonight's probably the best football game he ever played, because he struggled early. That's what big-time players do. When the money's on the line, they can suck it up in the fourth quarter and do what they have to do. But our defense, what a job they did in the second half, too. They were tremendous also.
And, Coach, you guys were in uncharted territory down at half for the first time this entire season. How did you coach them up to come from behind as you congratulate your family?
We always believed in ourselves, and we told our guys, this is going to be moments like this. Hey, we had those great games when we played well, but we know you play championship games, you got to go earn them. And our kids, I'm going to tell you what, there's some character on this side, too. These guys know how to play close games. I'm going to tell you, this is a heck of a football team, and the ACC is a daggone good football conference.
Go enjoy this with your family, and, Coach, congratulations. And now let's go to Tom with Jameis.
Heather, thank you very much. Jameis, with 1:15 to go in this game, final drive, what did you tell your teammates around you?
I said, guys, we didn't come here for no reason. I said, guys, this is ours, man. This is all the adversity we went through. The first few quarters, it was ours to take. And like I've been saying, we control our own destiny. And those men looked me in my eye and they said, we got this, Jameis. And I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
After struggling through the first half, what was the biggest adjustment you guys made at halftime?
We had to go back to playing Florida State football. We came out here, we were letting us be bigger than the game. We were bigger than the game. Then we had to say, hey, let's play Florida State football, because can't nobody be bigger than this game. And we did that, and we came out victorious.
You had an embrace with your head coach, Jimbo Fisher. You've been through a lot with him this season. What did you guys share in that moment, Jameis?
We champions. We can say that we are champions together. And through everything that we went through all the haters, through every single thing, we came out victorious. And God did this. I'm so blessed. He's so blessed. Like all the stuff that he handled with Ethan, and he come out here and coach us, that touched me. And it's nobody but God. It's nobody.
Ethan being the reference to Jimbo's son, you said it once, you said it 100 times this season. If we're going to do it big, we're going to do it big then. How big is this moment?
It's the biggest. Happy birthday. My cousin in Afghanistan watching this game, Teola Winston. We're doing it for everybody. We're doing it big all over the country, all over the world. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say I'm a Florida State Seminole.
Congratulations, Jake.
Thank you.
Brent?
Thank you, Tom, and happy birthday to the 22-year-old who celebrates with a national championship And, of course, that ends the run of the SEC. After this streak, tonight, it was Florida State of the ACC ending the run of 7 consecutive national championships. And it's only fitting because Jimbo Fisher modeled the entire Florida State team after the SEC. Remember, he was once an offensive coordinator for Nick Saban, and that was at LSU. Coming up, of course, we're going to be presenting the Coach's Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. And there is the Coach's Trophy. So we'll take a break. John Saunders ready in the stage next to Jameis Winston. Bill Hancock is down there for the BCS. And we'll continue watching the Ford BCS postgame show.
This postgame report is presented by your next truck, Ford F-150.
You're watching the Ford BCS postgame show. Well, after we say goodbye, stay tuned for SportsCenter for more postgame insight and analysis from the Vizio BCS National Championship game. It is time to award the trophy to Florida State. Let's go down to John Saunders for the trophy presentation. John?
Brent, thank you very much. Before we hand out the trophy, first of all, congratulations to the Auburn Tigers and Coach Gus Malzahn on a tremendous and magical season. But it's time now to hand out the Coach's Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. And to help me do that is William Wong, founder and CEO of Vizio, as well as Jim Trebilcock, Executive Vice President of Marketing for Dr. Pepper. And now, to hand it out for the very final time, this trophy, this particular one, will ever be handed out, is Bill Hancock, Executive Director of the BCS.
Thank you, John. Oh, my goodness. On behalf of the conferences and the schools that administer the BCS, we want to congratulate both teams on a tremendous effort, not only tonight, but all throughout the regular season. And now on behalf of the American football coaches, it's my honor to present the Coach's Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper to Coach Jimbo Fisher and the Florida State Seminoles.
Coach, first of all, what an amazing game to cap the BCS and all 5 BCS games. You talked about when you stepped up here, you whispered in my ear, you said, oh my goodness, what a roller coaster of emotion. Talk about what it was like, especially in that final quarter.
Well, I mean, you know, you had a group of kids here, and I'm going to say this. This is an unbelievably special group of players. We have a tremendously talented football team, but there's better character on this team than there are players. This team has heart. It has guts, it has determination, but more importantly, it loves each other. And that's the reason we play. I like to thank them. I like to thank our great fans and all of our assistant coaches who prepared these guys the right way. I want to say a special thank you to that. But it was an unbelievable game. There are 2 great teams. My hat's off to Auburn. It was just, you know, we had the ball last. They could play, but I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of gut and hearts down in Tallahassee, too.
Did you ever at any point in the first half begin to wonder, we've never been in a game like this season at all. I'm going to see what my team has.
Yeah, we did, and we were worried, and I was worried about the momentum got switched when they got up 21-3. That's why we did the fake punt, try to get the momentum of the game back, try to get control, and the score before half was critical, which got us back in, got our momentum back, got within a 2-score game. And these kids, though, they just believed and went back to executing and playing football.
You've got a freshman quarterback. When your nickname is famous, you expect many things, and he delivered.
He did, and I'm going to say this. This is the best football game he played. And I'm going to tell you, because he struggled for 3 quarters. And that, you know, that's a great team on the other side. The great players understand great moments. And when they get the ball in the last quarter and you still got a chance, they can rise their team up and make plays. That's what great players do. But he's surrounded by a bunch of great players, too. This is a great organization.
Coach, congratulations on winning the BCS National Championship. And one last question. There's only one thing you can do to top this, you know. So you want to make any promises for next year?
Hey, we're going to make this a consistent thing. This is a program again. We plan on being here. We got a lot of work to do. And it starts when we get home after tomorrow. 2 days from now, we'll get ready for next year.
Jimbo Fisher, congratulations. And time now to hand out the MVP awards. First, the offensive MVP. He led the team on an unbelievable drive in the final minute to win the game, Jameis Winston. Jameis, you've seemed like you've been calm the entire season. In that final minute 11, you proved it once again. When they took the lead, did you think they're a team of destiny, and now I've got to prove, as you said before the game, that we're a team that delivers?
When they took the lead, we took the initiative to show that we deserve to be in this predicament that we were in. We wanted to win, and we had to. And my team got on my back, and we just went the whole way, man. We went the whole way.
Did you ever worry in the first half and the first quarter when they were getting to you, putting a lot of pressure on you? Hey, I've never seen this. I didn't see it at all this season.
No, because we've been through adversity, and we handled it well. And when they gave us all they got, we handled that well too, and we came up victorious.
Tell me where you get the poise, where you get the joy that you have when you play this game of football.
Only one person, man. Good God Almighty. That's the only person. And these teams, when you got a team like this, my friend, you could be chill all the time. You could be chill all the time.
Jameis Winston. And now the defensive MVP, P.J. Williams. A key interception to help seal this game. Your defense has never seen an offense like that. You took a while to adjust in this game, but did you ever worry that you were overmatched?
Oh, no, we was never worried that we was overmatched because Coach just say execute what they tell us to do and we'll do good. So all game we just worked hard and played hard, and we knew we was going to come up on top.
When we're watching the game back in the ESPN lot, we're talking about if Florida State's going to win this game, they need a big play on defense, and then you delivered that play. Was that in your mind as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Coach told us we needed a big play by the defense. So the play was just mine to make. Coach always say the play don't care who make it. So it came to me, so it turned the game around. It was a good play, great play.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Once again, the champions. The final BCS championship, the Florida State Seminoles. Brent, back to you.
John, thank you very much. And congratulations to the Noles and Jameis Winston, who made a little college football history here tonight. 3 freshman quarterback starters in the championship game, and Jameis Winston is the only winner. 8 Heisman quarterback winners have played in this championship game. 3-5 is their overall record. And so Jameis Winston becomes the first freshman to win the Heisman Trophy and the national championship. Well, Herbert, you and I have seen some great games, but this is one of the tops.
It really was. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. And again, Auburn deserves a lot of credit for the way they came in, but it was interesting. Everybody wanted to know, Auburn's been tested. They're battle tested in the SEC. It gets into the fourth quarter. It's Auburn's advantage, but really we didn't know how Florida State would respond to that adversity until tonight when they really showed it. And the fourth quarter is where Florida State pulled away. They ended up scoring 21 points. And if you go back and look at this, it's 21-20. Abram, after he gets into the end zone here for a touchdown, remember they couldn't go for 2. Now you have the big return by Whitfield. This was huge. It puts them up 27-24. That was tremendous. It looked like Auburn was against the ropes, but Trey Mason came right back with a big touchdown. They go up 31-24. There's only a minute to go, and it sets up Jameis Winston. Where they high point it, they get it up in the air to the 6'5" receiver. Kelvin Benjamin comes down with it, and the rest is history.
Another look at Kelvin Benjamin going airborne for what turned out to be the winning touchdown for the Florida State Seminoles. Their first championship since the heyday of Bobby Bowden. And on the other side, after a remarkable season, Nick Marshall, the losing quarterback, they came up just a little bit short. And Jimbo Fisher wins his first national championship as a head coach. And on that last drive, Winston went 6 of 7. And then the Gatorade bath for the winning coach. Herbie, you know, it's interesting, in the first half, Winston threw for 62 yards, and in the second half, he threw for 175 for Jimbo. That's huge.
Yeah, it is. They bottled him up there in the first half, and we should go back to the first half where Florida State was struggling. They were down. The crowd for Auburn was into the game. Momentum was favoring Auburn. How about the call by Jimbo Fisher at his own 40-yard line? The fake punt down 21-3. They end up getting the fake punt, leading to their first touchdown to get it to 21-10. And, of course, they got back into the game in the second half. But that was a turning point in the game, not only from a points perspective, but the momentum to try to get things started.
There's Big Jernigan. He had a great game in the middle of that defensive line. Benjamin, who caught the winning touchdown pass. Stork, the Remington winner, who anchored the offensive line here tonight. So Florida State answered a lot of questions here tonight. Everybody wondered, what would they do if they were pushed to the wall in the fourth quarter? Well, they responded like champions. 21 fourth quarter points. There was only one field goal, and that was kicked by Florida State in the third quarter, and then they outscored Auburn 21-10 in the money quarter. Jimbo sounded like he knows he's going to be preseason #1 next year.
Yeah, I think he knows. And I loved his reaction to great celebration. Sounds like Nick Saban. We're gonna give you 48 hours to celebrate this historic victory, and then we're back in there lifting the weights and studying the film and getting ready for 2014. But they will be up at #1.
Yeah, this is such a big win for the ACC. We've talked about the SEC, and they had a remarkable run. And they will be back, by the way, in the 4-team playoff. There's no question about that. The SEC is not going away anytime soon.
No, you're right about that. They're always going to be there. But it was big for Florida State and for the ACC. And for Jimbo Fisher, I think, on a personal level. He has so much respect for Bobby Bowden, the legacy that Bobby Bowden left behind, the 14 years of excellence that Bobby Bowden had. But it was a little bit dicey there when he first took over. There were a lot of former players who were frustrated with the way it went down. He handled it. He kind of weathered the storm. He went out and recruited. He got people to believe in the new direction and the new leadership, and how fitting for him now, just a few years later, he's here at the national championship and he gets his first ring as a head coach.
Absolutely. Herbie, we've had great help up here in the booth this year. Our stage manager, JJ, George Hill's done all the stats. Scott Musburger's been the spotter. And you had 2 spotters you rotated.
Darren Brown all year, and Jared Zwick stepped up tonight.
Absolutely. So thanks to one and all, our great cameramen, our producer, Bill Manell, director, Derek Mobley. It was a pleasure to be with you guys all season long. What a win by Florida State. Florida State puts its dominating perfect record on the line against Destiny's Darlings. A perfect ending to an imperfect system. Wide open in the middle. A 50-yard strike.
I can see the finish line. With each line that I finish, I'm so close to my goals I can almost pole vault over the goalpost. And if I don't got enough in the tank, maybe I can just siphon enough to fill this
40 daylight. A 100-yard return. And Auburn is stung by its own medicine. End zone. Not zone, jump ball, touchdown! Florida State rules the BCS.